Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to the Nerds at Large Spoilercast for Avengers Endgame. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mann.
I'm Will Outlaw.
And we made it, you guys.
Yep.
It is the Endgame. We did it. We single-handedly, we beat Thanos.
Yep.
I did it. I snapped. Snapped Thanos out.
Snapped out of existence.
Snaps his neck.
Whoa.
So, if you haven't watched one of our Spoilercasts before, we are going to start with a spoiler-free section for a little bit, and we will make it very, very, very clear when we're going to spoil the mess out of this movie. So, if you just want to get a sense of what we think about the movie, if we recommend it, spoilers, we do.
Nah.
I don't even have to ask them, and I know that we do. We will make it very clear before we go into spoilers. So, gentlemen, holy shit, this movie. That's basically my thoughts. Let's just go one by one, like, say how we feel about it. Yeah, I think this movie is just... It's an incredible feat that I didn't think was possible to wrap up 20... This is the 22nd movie? Mm-hmm. 22 movies, like 21 movies before it. To wrap just that many stories, that many characters. And honestly, I struggle to think of many things that I can complain about plot-wise. Like, I mean, there are some like lingering questions, and there's some things that I'm like, I just need some more explanation of certain things. But overall, at least all of the main characters, like, I feel like everyone's arc that is closing now was closed in an amazing way, and then we're also set up for the future. But even if it all stopped right here, I would be like, this was an incredible end, and this movie made me like care about characters that I didn't even realize I cared that much about them until we got to moments in this movie when I'm sitting there tearing up about. I'm tearing up over this character. It's like I did not think this was in me, but they are just like the Russo brothers have proved that they are master classes. They're masterful in doing this. What about you, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. It's as a whole, it's hard to think of stuff to complain about and this stuff. Yeah, there are little nitpicks we'll probably get into for sure, and some little plot things we'll definitely get into. But as far as the whole ending to this whole giant infinity saga, as they're calling it now, can't think of a better way to do it. It's crazy that they were able to do it, and it's probably something we will never see again. This level. And yeah, like you said, it makes it sad for the future, and yeah, this felt like a season finale or a series finale, depending. Mm-hmm, and sure. It's just crazy.
I don't know. It was a 3-hour movie that I wanted to walk right back in and see.
That's also what I wanted to say. It was 3 hours. I struggle to think of a scene or anything that I would potentially cut for time.
I did have to use the bathroom.
Oh, no, Will, no.
We made it through.
No,
we survived.
I went around the hour and a half mark, so it wasn't too deep into stuff that I felt like I was missing yet.
Well, that just confirms you have to go see it again.
Yeah. I also trained myself to pee super fast for this movie.
He's been training for this moment the week beforehand. He just had a stopwatch. Like, okay,
not good enough.
Again. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. There's certainly things that I can pick out that I think, minor hiccups in the plot for sure. But how much fun I had, the emotions I felt during the whole movie, the visuals of it all, how it literally just felt like a nerd dream come true. I mean, like, literally. Like, you can say that for a lot of things, but actually, I think there's so much going on in this movie. That is what everyone has been wanting for the past 11 years or whatever.
Yeah, and without spoiling, you said a nerd's like dream or whatever. So many callbacks to previous movies and comics. And
absolutely.
Moments all in this movie.
It's full of callbacks and references to things that, no one likes the phrase true fan, but stuff that really read up people that will even appreciate more, So.
It felt like nothing was off limits as far
Right.
as what we're going to touch on in this universe. It didn't feel like, okay, let's touch on the things that are popular that everyone knows. It's like they just looked at what they had to use as storytelling tools, and they're like, we're going to use Thor: The Freaking Dark World. I'm not going to spoil things, but there's references. There's references to everything in this movie.
Anything that you thought wouldn't really matter in the end does at least have some sort of callback. You know, it might not necessarily matter, but it's referenced, which is really, really neat for a series that is this long in the making.
Yeah.
So,
and it's one of those things that I think, even on paper, if you were just like you said, it's a nerd dream. If you just like listed out the things that happen, it sounds awesome. It's like, I can't believe that this is happening in a big blockbuster movie. But even more than that, just the way they happen, the emotions you feel as these things are happening is just something that I never would have guessed, because I'm not even that big of a superhero guy. But I found myself, and it's a weird parallel, but it's like hard not to make it, and everyone else is making it. Like there was a Game of Thrones, the big Game of Thrones episode that happened that way. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a lot of big characters in there, a lot of big things happening, and I feel like I care about those characters more, and I didn't feel very much. Avengers, I didn't think I cared about these characters nearly as much, but the execution of everything that happened in here, like, it was incredible. It was, I mean, you felt like, because of especially the time you've spent with these characters, just the nostalgia.
Yeah, I will say this. After watching Endgame, I think Infinity War looks like definitely not bad, but like super weak in comparison. Like thinking about it now. But
I mean,
which tells you something.
I definitely like Endgame a lot more. Like I'm definitely. I mean, I think, spoilers, Endgame is my favorite Marvel movie now, MCU movie, and with a bullet. I don't think I have to think about it very long. But I mean, I feel like Infinity War now just feels like an awesome setup for this.
I was gonna say, like, Infinity War now feels almost like too much of a part one. At the time, it was cool because it had that like finality of some sort. But now it's like, okay, I just watched the first couple hours of this 5-hour-long movie.
Yeah. I did like
good.
I do like in Infinity War. Like, I like how that one in that movie, basically in that movie, Thanos is like the main character almost.
That's true, yeah.
And that was, I felt like we needed Infinity War so that we like knew Thanos, and so we're afraid of Thanos. Like
that's true,
because Thanos was a little bit of an afterthought in this movie until the end or whatever. But as far as Infinity War, it was the Thanos story. And you got to the point, like, without that much setup with Thanos, I think it's easy to make Thanos just kind of almost seem like generic big villain who's like really powerful. But because of Infinity War, he's probably one of my favorite villains of all time now. Like at least this version of him, I really enjoyed.
No, and something as far as like just talking about Infinity War, before we get into the spoilers, I think we said this during the last when we did this podcast for Infinity War, that how we feel about Infinity War, after this movie just really depends how, stuff happens in here. I'm glad that we felt like there was no consequence there, and we'll get into that. So I'm glad I can feel good about Infinity War and not go back and feel about it because nothing had consequence.
Right.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's like if you fail to stick the landing, then Infinity War, especially because Infinity War didn't really have an end. It was obviously like cliffhanger, we're stopping right here. Yeah,
a fake end.
Yeah, if you didn't stick that landing, then it would feel a lot worse.
I mean, I think the final thing we should talk about before we go into spoilers is whether or not the movie does stand on its own, and should it.
I think this is something that me and Jeff have been saying for years and years and years, is that this is one complaint or one thing that people I think use way too much, is that the movie didn't stand on its own. Of course, no. This movie 100,000% does not stand on its own, and I think it would be so
better
much
for it.
Yeah, it would be so much worse if it did. Like, you would be cut out, you'd be shot in the knees. Like, you would not be able to make a movie this good if it wasn't the finality and of an ongoing story.
Right.
I feel like it needed that, and I guess it makes it so that if you're judging these movies, just if you block everything else and just judge this movie, I guess it's going to be worse. But I think that's more of a criticism on the way that we judge movies than it is a criticism on this movie. Because like I said, this would be the equivalent of you going into the last episode of a TV show and saying, I don't understand anything,
Yeah,
this is bad.
I don't think it even has quite an equivalence to other series in cinema. Like, I mean, James Bond has 25 movies, but they're all completely separate, you know? Something like Harry Potter has 7 movies, but even that is nothing compared to the 22 that this series has.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost foolish to try to compare it to another movie series when it's triple the times complex, I guess. So I think, calling it a series finale is much more apt of a analogy. So,
and yeah, this probably comes from, this movie broke like every record imaginable. There are a lot of people going to see this, and there probably are a lot of people who have not done they do not have the prerequisite movies that they've seen. We have, so this is an amazing experience for us. I'm not saying that.
No.
Like they're wrong for if they expect to walk into Endgame without seeing anything else and expect to have like a perfect great time. I mean, like, you shouldn't expect that, but I definitely,
No, yeah. I mean, I think the people who are interested in this movie are generally the people that I've been keeping up well enough to know what's going on. Like there might be some people who just want to be part of the cultural phenomenon, I guess, the cultural conversation. But even the people who haven't been keeping up with the movies for that long can still enjoy it and be able to talk about it, even if they don't understand certain parts of the plot. So I think it works well, both.
And it's another one of those things that's like, this movie shouldn't exist. It's this movie costs like $400 million to make, and it is referencing so many little nerdy things that are very crucial to understanding what's going on. This seems like a movie that should have been like, we have to, no one's going to understand that. But instead, the Russo brothers are like, no, this is the story we're telling.
Screw it.
And God, it's so good. Oh, it's so good.
It's great.
Well, any last things before we get into spoilers? I don't know. Yeah, so much of this movie that we need to unpack involves very big character moments because there are just so many. There are so many moments. As I was going through this, I was like, okay, this is going to be like one of the most memorable moments in the movie. And then by the time I got to the end, so many others had happened.
Taking notes is so difficult because there's so many things that I wanted to bring up and talk about for a little bit, just in terms of like twists and turns that the plot makes and just exciting moments that we all were waiting for. So there's a lot.
Yeah, I think this might be a long spoiler cast, so let's get into the actual spoilers. So from this point onwards, we all recommend this movie. You have to go see it. If you're a Marvel fan, you've seen these other ones, you need to see this movie in the theaters.
You've already seen it.
You probably have.
If you're a DC fan, you should go see this movie and then cry about how DC hasn't made a similar movie.
Yes.
If you're really just into pop culture at all, you should see this movie.
100%. Okay, so spoilers, fair game. 3, 2, 1. Let's do this.
That cold open, though.
That cold open.
It was so good.
Another one of these things. This movie made me cry about Hawkeye. I hate Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I've never cared about Hawkeye in any of these movies.
You made that clear.
I know.
I enjoyed him, and I enjoyed him once you got to know his family and stuff. I liked the background of it. But, yeah, man, that cold open was a perfect way. It was almost like that feeling of Infinity War when they didn't have the startup music or whatever. It was just great how it was just immediately into the movie. Yeah, loved it.
And just, I don't know, just seeing his helplessness just running around in that field, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But I mean, the kid does put mayonnaise on his hot dog, so maybe he deserves to go.
I don't
know.
Linda Cardinelli did not, but the
that Chef Thanos did nothing wrong.
I mean, something had to happen.
I think I can't remember who I was talking to. I don't know, one of my friends talking about how that scene did show something really interesting, which was like, yes, it is 50% of the population, but it doesn't take into account like 50% of your family. You could certainly lose your entire family.
No, because there's that example. There's pretty much all the Guardians but Rocket and Nebula going, and then there's stuff like, Tony and Pepper both survived. And stuff like
think
that.
about families that the parents go and the little kids are the only ones alive. It's like they're in orphanages, I guess.
A little later in the movie, you see Ant-Man talk to that kid on the bike, right? And I think what you're supposed to pick up from that is that he has no parents. It's just, I think that part of it, they did a good job of showing that. And you very well could, after the snap, be completely alone.
Yeah. Kind of, I mean, well, yeah, so speaking of it, man, his daughter's still thing, but he lost his girlfriend, and then her parents both
Right.
was shown at the mid/post credit scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And that was such a like we're gonna end up going through kind of sequentially the movie,
Yeah.
but one thing like I just didn't even think about when they had that field with the names of people who were dusted. Something about that just got to me when you just see the list of names.
I will say I think I liked the idea of that more than I actually liked that it was in there in a way, because it's like you see all these like stadiums that are empty and stuff, and they make it seem like a ghost town, and yet they made like this huge monument. I don't know, it made me feel weird, but I did like it was very World Trade Center kind of moment where you just see all the names. Made it feel like an actual tragedy. So
yeah, it was.
But after the cold open, we have a
keep going.
kind of weird transition into some music, which I didn't appreciate actually.
I'm conflicted about that. Like, I don't know, for some reason it worked for me. I can't exactly explain why. Like, something about that music almost it felt like a somewhat somber end, but not too somber. I mean, it reminded me of The Last of Us almost, where it just like kind of seemed like this country twang thing to it. But for some reason, it worked for me.
Okay,
I agree, it's weird. It was a weird choice.
I think I
but
didn't.
it worked. For
Yeah,
me.
it's not that I hated it as much as it just felt a little off after that moment in the cold open, and maybe it made it worse that what they were doing too. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the paper football thing either. I was like,
they gotta entertain themselves somehow.
Yeah, you needed some levity. I mean, at least it wasn't like The Last Jedi, where the first thing you see is someone doing like a prank phone call. It's like, what movie am I watching? Like, what is this? Yeah, at least it wasn't the first thing. Also, someone pointed out, like, and I didn't realize this. They said in the Marvel opening thing, it was like only the characters that were still alive.
Yeah,
were in it. Apparently, like none of the dusted characters were in it. I didn't pick up on that. But yeah, we have Tony and Nebula playing paper football, which is that's whatever.
It was a nice moment.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I appreciate a little moment of levity. It didn't bug me that much. But then, like, you have a little laugh, and then you have just a gut punch to the face, and I'm already tearing up at this point when Tony is leaving the message for Pepper.
Yeah, I mean, well, even before that, I think the moment where he tells Nebula that she won was something I was like, oh, that's actually pretty sweet. Because, I mean, like, you have to remember who her father was and how she's literally just always tortured her entire life. Literally tortured. And Tony's just like, oh, you won. And, like, lets her win. It was a brief moment. But then we get...
I do feel like Nebula is almost like a storytelling challenge for them. It's like, how do we take Nebula, just like the pure essence of emo angst and anger, and like turn her slowly into a character that's likable. And I have liked Nebula's arc. I've liked it a lot.
But the Pepper scene, it's hard.
It got me. That was already getting me. I was like, we're 2 minutes into this movie or something, and like I'm already
being like, we don't have much oxygen left or whatever, like half a day or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, and you're kind of seeing, like, as he's doing this voiceover, you're kind of just seeing Nebula sit there. I think there's like some time lapse stuff or whatever of them. It's them like trying to work on the ship together. Which again, I was just like, this is such a weird pair, but I like it. Like a weird pair of Tony Stark and Nebula.
I mean, there were some sweet moments, like Nebula letting Tony like eat the rest of the food or whatever. There was some cool parts. So when you realize that they're like actually dying.
Yeah, and then her like picking him up when he was sleeping and putting him into the thing, which I didn't realize how like emancipated he was at that point.
He looked bad.
Whenever you see him in the light like later on, it's like, whoo, boy, I did not realize he was that bad off. Yeah, so then Captain Marvel saves them. How do you guys feel about the way Captain Marvel was introduced in this? So at the end of, I guess, Will, you didn't know this. I mean, I can tell you now, but at the end of Captain Marvel, the like post credit scenes is her like she has like a little pager thing that you saw in the thing that Nick Fury gave her. They were sending that. They didn't even know what they were sending towards, and then she shows up. Like, all right, what's going on? So that wasn't
Fury.
That wasn't in this movie, which in a way, like, I'm glad we didn't like waste time on something we already knew. But also, I kind of felt like a little robbed of their relationship with Captain Marvel. It was a little like we just jumped right in there, and it's like, oh, they know Captain Marvel now. And it's like I did feel like there was something a little missing there. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about her character more. I have one of my friends who had not seen Captain Marvel. I haven't either. So, but I knew about that post-credit scene. But he was just like, how did she know that they were there? Like,
All right, well,
for anyone who was new, it was just like,
well, that's
okay.
a potential question just for even people who did see Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too, yeah.
Because they're just in space. Like, how did they know? Like, they couldn't. Obviously, they couldn't get a message out to someone, or they would have done that. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could assume, like, in this whole fight against Thanos, maybe they were at Titan, so they have to be somewhere in between Earth and Titan. I guess. I can give them that.
I kind of thought it too, but how do they know they were at Titan though?
I mean, it's
true.
flimsy, Jeff. I'm just saying, like, he's from Titan, so maybe, like, it's
Question,
not concrete. It's
dumb
not
question because
concrete
I'm
at all.
done. What ship? Like, whose ship were they on? Were they on a Guardian ship?
Yeah, I think that was Quill's, wasn't it?
Okay, and then in that case, I think the explanation is Rocket did stuff to track it.
Yeah.
Because as far as he didn't know who from his team survived at that point.
Right. Yeah, I could buy that. It would have been nice to have, like, one line of
Yeah,
dialogue.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah,
but that's the likely explanation, assuming that's the.
There are definitely a few moments in this movie where it's, like, clear that they just had to get the plot going. And I think this is one of them, which, you know, I'm not upset about it. It's just weird in hindsight.
No, in a broad sense, I was kind of happy to. Okay, Tony's back on Earth very early. And
Yeah, I'm
we're
glad
just
they got it
Like,
going.
that
Like,
wasn't a
just-
whole plot point of getting
Yeah.
Tony and Nebula back. It's like, nope, they're back. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
was
it
kinda-
would have been a much more boring movie if they were gone for like 40 minutes or something in the movie, you know?
Yeah,
So.
and Tony Stark's build up just wouldn't have felt as good
Yeah,
if he
yeah.
wasn't with them. But yeah, so she brings them back. We see Tony reunite with them. Tony looks rough. He looks like he's about to, like, die. He just looks like he's thin and terrible. And I mean, I liked his reunion with Pepper, and it seems like, you know, he wants to say something to Cap. I mean, it doesn't seem as antagonistic then, but he's also, like, not all there. And then, I mean, if you have anything to say there, we can. But I want to talk about, like, that scene when he just erupts on Cap.
No, that's cool.
In that room. I wasn't really expecting that, especially after their first moment seemed a little more compassionate. But then he got in that room when he just explodes. It was like he was saying a lot of Tony Stark quips that you're used to laughing at, but it didn't feel funny. It felt sad.
Yeah.
It's
right.
like,
Yeah, I think that was, I don't know if it was just like brilliant acting on his part or it was just us being in the moment, but it was interesting how I felt more like uncomfortable than usual. I was just like, oh, he's trying to be funny, but it's just not the time. And it wasn't like, oh, the writers are trying to inject humor. It was literally like, oh, Tony's trying to cover up like his own despair. So
yeah. I mean, it felt like if you've had family members or something who've lashed out, you know, it felt, like the words he was saying normally would be funny to us, but it's just, it felt uncomfortable, and I loved it. That was,
it was sad.
He's weak. He, lost half the universe.
been through it. Obviously, Peter is still on his heart, on his mind. That was clear, as we see later. Just jeez. So we have basically in this whole section they end up figuring out that where Thanos is because, like,
he used the stones.
Yeah, he used the stone. It's weird that, like, they had we've seen this, like, register over here, and they had Nebula saying she knows where they was. It was like, okay, I guess double whammy.
It was
one too much.
This whole really, like, I don't know how long this section was because, like, I said,
just make sure you're talking to the mic a little closer.
I don't know how long this beginning part was, just because it felt so fast, the movie in general. But the first, if you've seen the movie, up until it says 5 years later, right? It seems very, very quick. Almost, I don't know, like, I was definitely okay with it because then it starts moving forward in a faster manner. But yeah, it was just like they were really trying to get the plot going in, like, really interesting ways. They're like, oh yeah, we found Thanos. It's like, oh, okay.
I think they want, like, I agree that they had to kind of, like, rush things to do it, but I think they wanted everyone in the audience to have the sense of, holy shit, this movie just started and Thanos is dead.
Yeah,
it's like, I think that's what they wanted. Is like the movie has not even been going on that long. If that happened 30 minutes into the movie, it would probably have less effect. They wanted it to be like, I just settled into my seat and Thanos is dead. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had that effect on me. It was just interesting how fast it seemed to be moving.
Yeah. Well, let's just go to that scene because that's the next big thing. So they find them, Thanos the potato farmer.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna chill out and die in this farm and this garden, which again just makes sense for Thanos' character. That was his mission, and then like after that,
that's where we saw him at the end of the last movie.
Yeah,
but this time he's more kind of broken looking because he used the stones again.
I mean, his arm looks brittle. It looks like you could just
the
like
side of his
snap
face
a
and all
piece
that.
off
His ear
of
was
it.
gone and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he looks rough and he's like limping around and everything. So yeah, they explode in there. Everyone grabs them.
That was
punches
cool.
them.
That was cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're just seeing them like from right side, left side, right side. Just
There's no hesitation to go and grab him.
Hulk in the Hulkbuster armor still.
you felt anger in every single one of
Oh,
those.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
like screw this guy. And yep, he says he's destroyed the stones with the stones that almost killed him. It's like you're a liar. It's like my father's a lot of things, but he's not a liar. Then Thor
First the hands.
Thor aims for the head.
And then he goes for the head.
Brutally just chops the hand
I thought
off.
that was awesome. Where he was just like, he's not playing around anymore. He is going.
Let's
he's
don't even give him a
taking
chance.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going through this again.
I do like that. Like they didn't go too far with it in other places in the movie, which is fine because it's still a kids movie. But I appreciate that for this moment, they're like, no, the violence needs to be a little gratuitous. It needs
like
to be
Thor
violent.
would want to
This needs to be
destroy
violent
him.
to get the message across.
Absolutely.
Which I appreciate.
I didn't even think about it until after the movie, but I was like, wow, that was a rather violent thing to depict in a regular Marvel movie. But I'm glad they did. Like,
No, because like he was sitting there, and I'll admit I absolutely did not see that coming. Thor like just boom right over his head rolls off. And he's like, he's not coming back from that. Thanos is dead.
Yep.
And just the I don't know who says it, but the what have you done or what did you do?
went for
And
the-
it's like you felt that
But-
you relate with Thor, but it's also like
Well, I also kind of, I mean, it did kind of have that feeling of Quill like reacting, right, and maybe ruining things. But I think it was really interesting how really most of the Avengers were just like okay with it, you know. Like I think it went to Steve for a second, and he didn't like show any emotion. Like he was totally okay for once. And
it was probably also
interesting.
one of these things that it's like, well, it's done. What do we do now?
Yeah, I mean,
what's the
that's fair.
point in yelling at Thor?
Yeah.
It's over.
Plus, they all wanted to do it. Probably.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. I liked that moment just because everyone was that upset, and
Well, I mean, you think about when Peter did that, it was because he lost the love of his life. They've all lost basically
Right.
the loves of their life at this point. Like it's personal for all of them now. So yeah, cuts Thanos' head off immediate. 5 years later, and I was internally just like, hell yes, let's go.
I was totally expecting the 5 months. So the 5 years
Yeah.
was like, holy cow.
I
okay.
love how much was spaced out between them, like 5
Yeah,
years
they waited a long
later. I'm
time.
like,
Like, we know you're not going to be expecting this.
someone
that
said
was nuts.
it really was like Russo brothers were like, huh, how about that? How about that?
I also I don't know how the world would ever recover from losing that many people. So it was interesting seeing them like go over all the big cities, and it just seems like dead. Even 5 years after the snap, like
Yeah, which people did bring up. It's like, yeah, it seems like, why is it a ghost town? There's still so many people. But if you think like half the people go, it's like just the cars on the freeway would take so long to
Oh,
clear
yeah.
out. It just like, yeah,
I
there's
mean, all the office space in New York City, like only half of that would be used now. Like,
I mean, or potentially even less, because like we said with the family things, just because it's half people doesn't mean necessarily.
yeah,
it
definitely.
could be like in some cities more than half of the
yeah, New
population.
York could have gotten like 3/4 wiped out
Yeah.
just by
Yeah.
chance. Just
Yeah.
it's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, or even stuff like, well, I know they say half, but it's half of all life in the universe. So Earth could theoretically be hit harder, and a bigger chunk of Earth is gone.
Right. It's all just chance.
Yep.
It's that RNGesus. No, but I love this, and immediately, like, I felt like it's the fact that they did that this early and the 5 years later. I was like, okay, we're gonna go deep into how is the world handling this. Like, how is this? Because 5 years is a long time.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
long enough to where, like, yeah, life has almost started to readapt to this, and that's where we go to like kind of the thing that we had seen in the trailers with the support group, and I did love that scene. Just how you go deeper into you're talking about this person, like everyone's obviously kind of depressed, and then he's talking about just trying to build back a normal life and have a relationship, and then he's like, he cried at dinner or something, I cried at dessert. It was like,
yeah.
it's brutal. I love that stuff. I love how deep they went into that.
And that was the director,
Yeah, which I didn't even know. I didn't even realize
And
at the time.
Jim Starlin, creator of Thanos, was the other guy.
Nice.
You did good. You worry sometimes when the director and people are going to be in the movie. It's like, okay, can you really act? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
he was
why
good.
are you really here? Oh, yeah, I thought you did good. Then I'm pretty sure we moved to Black Widow, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it was cool that Cap was like just trying everything he knew how to continue like to help people during this time. Like he wasn't gonna be Captain America anymore. There was no reason, but he was gonna try to help these other people live through their lives, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, even in like small emotional ways, he's still gonna try to be better for everyone.
I did read about how some people were saying how cool would it have been to see like Foggy Nelson from the Netflix TV shows in that scene, like just have that one small.
He's in the support group or something.
Yeah. But
No,
alas,
they
it's okay.
they refuse to acknowledge any of those.
Yeah, whatever.
An Iron Fist walks in. It's like, oh God, why? Why?
I am Iron Fist.
Well, yeah, what if Iron Fist was the reason why they wanted the other to be like, okay, cool.
There is a true reason why they won. We'll get to it later.
Oh yeah. We all know. Yeah. We go in this, and I think this is the beginning of why I think Scarlett Johansson in Black Widow is one of my favorite parts of this entire movie, and I have never said that before. And in any time she's been in the movie before, like I've never not liked her, but she's always she's a badass like spy lady, but she's never really been that much of a character. But like her acting in this, when they're all talking, she's talking to Captain Marvel and Rocket and Rhodes and everyone like in the holograms things. And then whenever they all go away and she just breaks down, again, this was another moment where I'm like, this is Black Widow. I didn't even think I really cared about her, but I'm tearing up. I'm tearing up because she's tearing up. Yeah, I mean, what did you guys think about this whole scene?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was tough because you understood, like, if you think about her history, she was, like, basically a sleeper agent for Russia, I guess, for a long time, right? And then she became a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Yeah.
So it's like literally all she's ever known is combat and leading a team after the Avengers. So you can tell that she's really trying to like just continue her life the best way she knows how. And whenever these people don't really find the purpose in it anymore, then she just has no idea what to do. And it was definitely sad.
And like they said later, it's like, did she have any family? It's like we were her family.
Right.
Like, we were the only thing she had. Yeah. That was brutal. So then Cap shows up. I'm kind of lost where I am on here. Just have that on there.
Actually, I want to go back to Captain Marvel because it's like
right.
she's there for the first part of the movie, which was cool and smart, I think, for her to immediately come in. But she was completely overhyped for this movie. She did not do that. I mean, she had that big moment at the end, but she did not partake in this movie. Like, it was very strange to me. I thought she was going to be, like, a big factor in this whole movie.
Yeah, I thought she'd be more of a factor too, but I became more okay with it as we found out what the movie was.
Sure,
because it was a lot more focused on
the originals.
Yeah, the originals for the most part, and characters we knew a lot more as. And I guess to be fair to them, they filmed and wrote Endgame before the Captain Marvel movie, so they didn't even know what her personality was necessarily going to be like, or how they were going to set her up, fully when they were doing all this.
I definitely felt like that it was a traditional like Superman problem though, where people always say that he's too powerful, so they have to write him out of whatever he's in. And I definitely felt that with Captain Marvel.
And I have a feeling that's going to be Captain Marvel's problem for the next, 3 movies she's in or something. Like, they're always going to have to find some way that someone steals her powers or she's conveniently not there. Because that's your problem when you have an overpowered hero, unfortunately. There's not too many ways around that,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I just kept thinking the whole time. It's like, for years, they've always been talking about how Superman is not a great character because he has no weakness. And now Marvel has the exact same problem.
Oh, yeah.
For a while. So, but yeah, she comes back at the very end.
Well, and the excuse for her so far, and I'm not even saying it's a bad excuse, but the excuse for her is always going to be she's busy saving other planets,
That's
which is a decent excuse or whatever. But
maybe she even said in there, it's like, as far as why she wasn't there as well, most planets don't have you guys.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely fair. I guess they certainly set her up as like patrolling the entire universe. Like, you could do that for like Green Lantern, in DC, but Superman is like very Earth base.
Yeah,
She's just like
that's
another layer. Like, yeah, your world might be collapsing, but there's also 7 other worlds also collapsing.
Yeah.
That I need to
and I think it's smart for in a potential way for future movies to where she can do crazy world busting stuff, but it not really affecting the rest of Marvel's like Earth heroes on.
That's true.
So.
I mean, when we'll get to it, but I mean, when she did come in, I think they.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
I think they were basically like, we know that she's barely been in this movie, so to make up for it, she just comes crashing down and wrecks shit. That's amazing.
Also got a new hairstyle.
Yeah,
I dig the short haircut.
I like
I'm
it
glad
too.
they did that.
The only thing I don't like is I don't know if she has enough hair to do the mohawk anymore. And you didn't see Captain Marvel, but that was like
This
her,
might be a
her
shorter
best
mohawk.
thing when she had the mohawk. It was awesome. Yeah. She could do like little spikes, I guess. Yeah, little tiny spiky mohawk. Okay, well then we have Ant-Man, which the 2 Ant-Man movies are the only ones that I haven't seen in the entire MCU, and definitely those are probably 2 of the more important ones for this. But I generally I know enough about the quantic realm and stuff, just hearing about things in comics, that I understand. You guys probably know more, but he comes out of there. I'm guessing this is what you were saying, Jeff. The real hero in the MCU for Endgame was the Rat.
Yeah, well, there's another one, but we'll get to that way later.
Okay. Well, the Rat is the real MVP.
Yeah,
we think it's Tony Stark.
No,
we think Captain
it's funny
America.
because people kind of set this, talked about this when Doctor Strange talking about 1 out of 14 million. It had to be the one where the Rat happens to push that button.
No, see, that was the thing. When I was watching this movie, I was like, really? Like, Ant-Man's gonna come out of the quantum realm from this rat.
Hey man, San Francisco.
Yes.
San Francisco probably has a bad rat problem. I could buy
But,
that.
yeah,
I could buy either a rat runs over or a homeless person comes by and presses the button. Either one of those.
Yeah, no, I did. I read on Reddit of people saying like, yeah, I mean, this does fit into the narrative of like this is one of the 14 million possibilities or whatever.
This is
it was.
the one.
Hey,
But it is really strange. I don't know.
you can't do this without a little bit of luck, Will. You gotta have a little bit of luck.
This is the other moment where I was like, they're just trying to get the plot going. Like they didn't know what they were gonna do after Ant-Man and Wasp.
I kind of like it. It's just
It's fine.
It fits with Ant-Man.
It's dumb enough to work, and yeah, it does kind of fit with Ant-Man. To see a rat press a button and Paul Rudd comes out, it's like it slams into a wall.
He's like, it's like, what the hell's going on?
Honestly, I think
2019, what?
that's like
or
this.
24.
I have so many
23.
movies to watch.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably like my single biggest like gripe with the movie, and that's like just a dumb gripe. So whatever.
I was about to say there could definitely be worse, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Ant-Man is out. He's starting to realize, okay, a lot has changed.
A lot of stuff's
super
going down.
different. Everything looks
Where's
very
Hope?
easy. Yeah. And then, we get the scene where he's running over to the monument thing. Of
Sees
people
his
that
name.
Yeah, him figuring out stuff
I'm dead?
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just like had no idea what was happening. It was pretty heartbreaking.
I think this is a huge testament to them and their storytelling and how well they shot all these scenes. I haven't seen either Ant-Man. I didn't even know who his daughter was or that he had a daughter. And I was getting emotional during that scene. It's like, I don't even know who the hell this is.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I could tell that Paul Rudd's sad, so I'm sad.
yeah, that was especially sad because like the Ant-Man movies are really built on his relationship with his daughter.
Yep.
Like that's the only reason he becomes Ant-Man and like goes through all that. So that was a nice moment, especially when he's like, "Oh, you're so big." That was tough.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Okay, so basically the next thing is back in New York, Ant-Man showing up. I like the security cam footage or something. He's like, hey,
It's me from the airport, the guy who got really big.
We met at the airport.
I also do appreciate that, like, it's been 5 years and no one's even thought about Ant-Man. They're like, oh yeah, that guy.
no, it's been like 7 or 8 years since they saw him.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they like met once if we're being for real.
Yeah.
Like Ant-Man he's been completely separate besides Civil War. So.
But even at the end of Civil War, it was like he was screaming at Tony Stark. It's like, who is this guy? Like, who is he?
No one knows.
So he comes in. He's really hungry. He wants a sandwich or something, but he also explains to them his time travel idea. So
or what happened with him. Or
what happened with him.
Yeah, the
and
quantum realm and all that kind of
decided,
stuff.
Which at this point we all like. I mean, I think we all kind of figured there was going to be some time travel mumbo jumbo in this movie to reverse the snap in some way or shape or form. So this just confirmed. Yes.
Yeah, they were hitting it that hard during Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, I mean, there were set photos of the Avengers in their original costumes too in New York, so I think that was fair knowledge, or at least that they were doing reshoots of the battle in New York.
Yeah. So yeah, if y'all don't have anything to say about that, I think we can move on to Tony and his.
I can't really remember, Jeff. Is Scott supposed to be smart? Because I didn't think he was, so I was kind of confused how he had that much knowledge of the quantum realm. I guess he was there for a little bit.
Yeah, I guess that, and he was connected to Hope's mom for a little bit because quantum realm jumbo.
Yeah. It's just, they kind of characterized Scott in the first Ant-Man movie as being just like a common thief.
Yeah.
So
really good one, but
a good one, yeah. But he, I guess he's been Ant-Man for several years, so maybe he has more scientific knowledge. But I was kind of confused while he was like spouting off quantum realm theory. But it worked. It's okay.
He's heard Hope and her dad talk about it so much that it somehow stayed in his mind.
All right. So then I guess he convinces them of that. So they go to Tony. So we see what Tony's been doing the last 5 years, and apparently it was having an adorable little daughter, and he's chilling out in a lake house.
I'd steal that kid.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
If I saw her in the wild. We can cut that out.
Wee woo.
Hard cut.
FBI, open up!
Yeah, we hard cut to the FBI. Just like
she is incredibly cute.
Yeah, no, and this is
has a little pepper Iron Man mask.
Yeah, which was adorable.
Was cool.
I mean, just like skipping ahead, then we'll come back. I will say props to this movie because if you just told me like, yeah, they're gonna introduce Iron Man's kid in this movie, and then later this movie you're expected to like really care about the relationship, I'd be like, there's not going to be enough time for that. There's going to be so much else going on. Like,
no. You'd be thinking, wait, how the hell are they going to give Iron Man a kid? What?
That too. That too. But you instantly fall in love with their relationship, and I don't know, it's just immediately adorable. And then the I love you 3000, which we'll get to. I'm skipping around, but like it's just. Your heart.
Yeah, that was tough.
Oh, your heart. It goes straight to you. So yeah, we see he has a daughter. He seems happy. He seems genuinely happy. He has this family. He's, moved on, and you're immediately, as you're seeing this and thinking, it's like, okay, because I didn't know exactly how the time travel was going to work out. I was like, he's not going to want to leave this behind. And immediately, like, yep, this is going to be a problem. Like, he's not going to be okay with just saying goodbye to this. Yeah. Meanwhile, Cap and Black Widow would probably be like, hell yes, let's go back to whatever it is. Yeah, let's go back to that time. But, so they talk to him.
It takes.
And as expected, yeah, he is not on board because of his family. I thought that was a good scene. I liked that he was like, I really am happy to see you. I'm glad to see you. And if you don't talk shop, you can stay for dinner. But
yeah,
I thought that was really good. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot to say there though. Until I honestly don't remember if he figures out time travel first or we do something else first. But
pretty sure this stuff is a little out of order, but it's whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So he basically ends up figuring out how to do the time travel
on his own. He just kind of thinks about it's like, I figured out time travel.
I love that eureka moment.
He just stayed up too late one night and did now time travel.
Or it's like, what he's like, I figured out time travel. I was like, okay.
This is what happens when I don't make 100 suits. I can figure out time travel.
Yeah, and I loved the scene with Pepper because you've kind of seen throughout the whole MCU, it's always been like Tony's first instinct is I want to be Iron Man. I want to help people. I want to kind of do the very risky thing, and she just wants him to be a husband. She just wants him to be a normal person, and that's kind of been their conflict for the entire thing. But I like that they've both progressed enough that she knows who he is at this point. And I think it's very powerful that he said, hey, I can just throw this away and not tell us all.
I can forget about this now.
I can forget about this right now. We can go. And I believed him that it's like, I will do this.
Yeah.
I will do this for you. And it was like, if it was up to Tony, he would obviously be just doing this. But he's like, I love you. I love our kid. I will do this for you. But I also, she realizes like, no, you're never gonna be happy.
Yeah.
You can never rest, which comes back later. It's like, oh god, okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
No,
Wow.
Yeah.
we'll talk about it later. But I've just thought about the end of this movie, like
Dang.
walking down the street and started crying. Like
Yeah.
this movie wrecked me, but yeah.
Plus, it'd be very selfish of Pepper's like, well, you know, you could save half the universe if you do this, potentially.
But at that
I know.
At that point, the way they're thinking, like, this might stop them from having a daughter. They don't know how
because
this is going to go.
they don't know how exactly the time travel is going to affect everything.
And, I mean, he even said later, he's like, I want to get back what I lost, but I am not giving up what I found.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, I can totally understand, you know. I think there's a lot of people that it was like...
He just really wants Peter to be able to babysit. It's really what's going on.
That's true. So, do you have anything to say about that, or do you want to move on?
We can move on.
So around here, I don't know which one happens first, but we have I'll just go with what I have here first. We do have our Hawkeye Samurai film,
Yes.
which was super weird at first when they did that. I didn't really pick up on what Rhodes had said earlier about him killing people for something.
Yeah.
I kind of missed out on that. So like when they were showing this at first, I was like, is this going to be like a movie that someone's watching? It's like a post-dusting movie, because they were like saying stuff about people getting dusted, but it seemed so different. It seemed like a samurai movie.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to pull back and
I didn't even
his
notice.
daughter was watching this, and he's like, you're not old enough to be watching this. Go away. Like, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I didn't even notice. So I need to watch it again. But apparently it was in one take, which is pretty cool. Or like a one shot. There were no cuts.
Nice.
So.
That's cool.
Yeah. I thought this part was cool. I really liked Hawkeye in this movie. I liked how he went into his Ronin persona for this movie and how he really became a different character. But I do wish they had kind of spent a little more time with him. And I know that's not possible in this movie. Honestly, I think a Hawkeye movie like sort of in the period after the dusting would have been sick. And I think that would have been the perfect opportunity.
Are we getting a Disney Plus Hawkeye show?
And that's what I was going to say. It's like, if they continue with the Disney Plus Hawkeye, I don't think they will, but it would be really cool to see more of his stuff as Ronin.
Well, this almost felt like it could have been the end of a Hawkeye movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you could even see like he's gonna go kill this person, and then Black Widow shows up, and he has to walk away from it or something. You know, he has to choose: am I gonna go with you, or am I not? You know, like
So I definitely like this 2-minute scene or whatever, but I think there was actually a lot more potential for him as well, especially before he comes back to the Avengers.
Also, more that like this is another. There's like this movie could have been 5 movies.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and his line or something about like "don't give me hope" or something.
Yeah,
was
that
like,
was tough.
Yeah. Props to Jeremy Renner and Hawkeye, which I have not liked either. I've not liked his acting or Hawkeye as a character until this movie. Like, props to them for.
Still don't like his haircut.
I think it's a cool haircut for someone younger than Jeremy Renner. So then we go to Hulk. Like, we've recruited Hawkeye. Now we're gonna try to recruit Hulk. And so Hulk has
Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk. He has figured out how to merge Hulk and himself into one, and now he's basically just a celebrity. He's kind of an asshole when he first meet him.
I had a lot of weird opinions about Hulk in this movie. I don't know.
I saw an interview thing, because obviously they're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff to the side. Apparently they were talking about doing this in Infinity War, as far as the Professor Hulk thing or whatever. But instead, they decided to do this of, we're just going to show the end result.
Yeah. They were going to have the transformation.
Right. And show and kind of have like Ant-Man as the audience insert as far as this being a new thing.
Right, yeah. I didn't mind this because you saw like he's figured this out, and you get to see how it's changed his personality because of the 5-year jump, Yeah,
they get away with some of that stuff because 5-year stuff like with Hawkeye being Ronin is like he's just a vicious killer and everything because it's been 5 years since his family gone. Shit's changed him. They
basically picked the perfect amount of time for. It's not that long, but it's long enough for people to significantly change their life.
Yeah.
There was the scene with him and Ant-Man with the phone, which I thought went on really long But then I thought it was worth it when he's like, take the goddamn phone. That made
it was really long, but yeah.
I wasn't really enjoying it until that. He's like, yeah take the goddamn phone.
What Paul read.
Inching very closer and closer out of PG-13. I don't know how many goddams they can get.
Yeah, no, I was surprised by the language there, too.
Okay, so next thing I have here is Hulk and Rocket going to New Asgard. Which I like that a lot. I like that New Asgard is this like tiny fishing town.
Yeah. Saw Valkyrie again.
Yeah.
Apparently, the setting of New Asgard shows up in another movie. I'm trying to think of which one it is now. I think it might be one of the places Cap goes to in the first Avenger, or something. It's like been in another movie before, but they call it New Asgard in this one.
So there were other people. They just like kill everyone in that town and take it for themselves. Like this is now New Asgard.
They pillaged it for Asgard.
Like,
Which I'm kind of surprised. How many Asgardians are supposed to be left? I didn't think there were any.
Not many. That's why there's that tiny.
Okay, so here's the thing, and it's something that wasn't necessarily said, but it makes sense because we knew Valkyrie was a thing. In the beginning of Infinity War, when Thanos was on there, half of the people in that ship were sent away by Thanos because of his whole "we're gonna let half of you live" thing. That's why Valkyrie and Korg and stuff were gone.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
weird, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
I feel like that should have been said.
Yeah.
It might have been like a small little. I think it was small reference, kind of small, like in a quick line.
Okay,
but that's a thing that has been known since Infinity War came out.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. So then, Fat Thor.
Yeah,
dude,
what a good surprise!
Oh my god! And I just love that they kept it the whole movie.
Well,
I thought for sure like there was gonna be a montage where he like gets fit again, or he gets the hammer,
or he gets zapped by lightning, and he just gets abs.
Yeah, that's the thing I was expecting is like the final power up. He was gonna have abs,
but no.
It was like,
the final battle in this movie featured Fat Thor wielding Stormbreaker and Mjolnir dual hands.
What balls to go through with Fat Thor for the entire biggest movie of all time. Chris Hemsworth wore a fat suit for the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah, guys, I saw a girl post a meme or a picture of why people watch these whatever, and they say that when a girl says I watched Avengers for the plot, and then it shows Chris Hemsworth, and it took everything had in the the plot thickened.
Yep. Little did she know.
Different plot than what they're expecting.
Oh yeah, I love this with Fat Thor playing video games with Korg, playing Fortnite with Korg. Like obviously the Fortnite thing has gone back. Both they featured in each other's content at this point.
Yeah, be talking trash to some teenager or whatever.
Apparently, someone went and made that username now, and they have the description was like, "Well, Thor shoved whatever up my butt, but I'm still okay." So
I have a picture of it because I thought it was so funny.
It's pretty good.
No, I don't have it.
I don't know. I loved it so much. But then you obviously see Thor is very broken and damaged. He just mentions Thanos and Thor breaks down.
Yeah, I think again it comes close to being maybe too funny, but I think they do a great job of showing how he is legitimately depressed and just trying to cover things up.
There's a surface level of how absurd it is, so it's funny, but it's not just absurd for no reason. It's sad. Honestly, Thor in Ragnarok, Infinity War, and in this movie, he's hilarious, but he's hilarious in kind of a sad way.
Yeah, you know it's hilarious, but you know that there's something behind it all, and that makes it maybe even sadder.
Yeah, I like how Rocket and Hulk were, trying to be supportive of him and his feelings.
Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, well, we move on. We have Thor now. So this is I feel like there were some other things here, but I was just reading a synopsis. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this is when now we're testing out time travel. I guess there was the scene when Thor gets up in front of everyone and just starts rambling on about his ex-girlfriend, about Natalie Portman.
I do there was.
I think that was after this time travel scene, and then they started
talking about the time.
Once Tony got there and figured out that's when they did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it is funny how he keeps on referencing Natalie Portman character. It's she hasn't been seen in so many movies, but
they've kind of turned they turned an actress like leaving and them having to like figure that out
Right.
into like a plot point for
Yeah.
for how depressed Thor is. Which is I
I don't
appreciate.
even talk to Jane anymore.
Yeah, that was really good. So what am I missing here? There was I just remember when this whole,
we can just talk about them testing it out and then go
Yeah.
into the whole plan thing.
yeah.
Them planning it out. So yeah, they try.
Yeah, this is the only part of the movie that I can definitively say I didn't like was us sending Ant-Man back and like he's a baby, he's an old man, he's this, he's that. I was like, this
Yeah.
just seems like kid cartoon. Like I don't know,
That's fine.
literally like that like minute long period in a 3-hour movie is probably the only minute that I didn't like.
Like you can
so
cut.
so that's pretty. You know,
I think it made it a little bit better whenever Tony comes and it's like, so did this happen? I wish someone
yeah.
would have warned you.
He became a baby, didn't he? He's like,
Yeah.
yep.
which I also
That made
thought
it
like
worth it.
Tony, you could have called before you got there because what if we killed Ant-Man? Like, what if you got there and it's like, hey, did this happen? It's like, yeah, and he's fucking dead. Why didn't you tell someone this could happen? You asshole. You drove all the way here.
Yeah, he's dead.
Hey, he had enough faith in them to not completely kill him, but not enough faith for them to actually get it done. There's a fine line of faith.
Yeah. So, eventually we get to the it's not Back to the Future logic. They
Yeah,
really just shat on Back to the Future in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they try to explain their version of time travel, and then it gets explained a little bit further by the Sorceress Supreme.
Yeah, which I do appreciate. If you're going to do time travel, at least try to explain it because, like,
Yeah.
a lot of time travel stuff is just like, and then time travel bullshit
It
happens.
was
And it's like,
certainly-
at least they were like, they legitimate. It was like they looked the audience in the face and they're like, we're going to try. We're going to
Yeah.
try to explain.
By
Exactly.
using movies you know.
Yeah, seriously. I was reading that, like, I think it's Hot Tub Time Machine that Sebastian Stan, what's his name? Sebastian Stan? Stan Sebastian? Bucky? I don't know. Apparently
I don't
Bucky's
know.
in
His
that
actor's
movie.
name.
Yeah.
So people were like, do people know that Bucky is an actor in the MCU?
He should have been the one to explain it. He just pops out like, hey, I know I'm dusted, but
And dust just comes out from the wind and it's this hot tub time machine on the wall.
okay.
So
They
you-
do an okay job of explaining what they're trying to explain, even though
I
there's
did
some holes.
I did
by the end of the
appreciate
movie.
taking the time to see Paul Rudd try to eat a taco. It was pretty funny
Yeah.
to me.
Everyone's coming.
Then Hulk gives him 2. So
Yeah.
nice.
So
Tender.
nice. Good guy, Hulk.
Spencer holds like pat on my head and just walk away.
I feel like every movie though, Hulk just becomes a little bit greener version of Mark Ruffalo. And I don't know how I feel about
Oh,
it.
and this was Ultimate. It
Yeah.
was just a big Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, I really don't know how I feel about it. Like Avengers Hulk looked awesome, and now it's slowly just becoming big Mark Ruffalo.
I will say the one that they made me like Hawkeye. I could take or leave. Hulk doesn't do a whole lot for me. Like I don't know. Just his whole character is just always a little off to me. I can't exactly explain why, but
I liked him in Ragnarok. Okay,
even there, I like Thor and Valkyrie a lot more than I liked him. But that's just my hang up. So, correct me if I'm missing anything else. We get to eventually all of this leads to the time heist, the plan
Yeah,
that we've
they
made the
start
plan for the
planning
time.
out and
So yeah, Tony, Cap, and Hulk and Ant-Man are going back to 2012 New York for the time, mind, and space stones.
Yeah. Well, it was a funny line before that. They were just talking like I think it was Tony and Black Widow or something just lying on the table, and they were just talking like with Doctor Strange. Okay, he had the time stone or whatever, and then Black Widow's like, so wait a minute. At one time, there are 3 stones in New York. There's 6 of these powerful stones, and at one point they were in this
Half
one
of
city.
them were in one city.
At this one point in time.
It's like, yeah,
New York's just the center of everything.
sure is. We probably should try to grab them then, if only we knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a funny thing. So they're basically going back to the original Avengers. Thor and Rocket are going back to Thor 2, and Nebula, Rhodes,
Go to the beginning of
Guardians.
the
Guardians.
beginning of Guardians, and Black Widow and Hawkeye going to Infinity War. Basically, just what happened
Yeah.
there. They're going to
Well,
Vormir
they go to the same time as
as the
Nebula and Rhodes at
yeah.
the beginning of Guardians, but going to Vormir because you could technically go there any time before Infinity
And
War.
Red Skull's just hanging, just chilling. I guess you don't go there before Captain America. I guess I don't know who's there before Red Skull was. Probably
Yeah, that's
someone else. I
true.
guess. I don't know.
But speaking of that, I read somewhere like because at the end of the movie, Steve just goes back and puts all the stones back. But they were just talking about like, could you imagine Steve seeing Red Skull again?
Well, that happened and we just didn't see it.
Yeah,
that happened off
exactly.
screen, which is kind of a bummer.
It's weird, yeah.
Give us a movie where he just goes on these adventures putting the stones back.
Honestly,
I can see Captain America like shows up there. He climbs the steps and sees. He's like, "No one told me this. Like, it's not you."
well, it's funny,
like, but no one knows.
Yeah,
no one
it's
knows.
the 40s. Like no one knows.
It would be funny if someone's like, "Yeah, and this red guy," and he's like, "Wait a minute, red guy."
Red guy? Weird. Yeah, and he had like a scully fit. Wait.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that is a little.
Did he
weird.
seem Nazi-ish to you? Actually, yeah.
He had this Nazi vibe, you know.
Yeah.
There are some plot holes at the end there with putting the stones back, but we can talk about it later.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the time heist.
That's gonna be the end. I just love the time heist. I love this whole thing. Everything about it, I love. I love heist movies. I love heist plots and everything. And
it was incredible.
The fact that they called it the time heist and they had time heist written on the chalkboard. It's like, oh, it's so good.
I mean, just
So good.
whenever you realize that they're going back to 3 movies, like in the MCU,
Yeah.
I think that was the coolest part.
And
like,
then let's just like. I think the easiest way would just be to tackle these one whole thing and then one whole thing, as far as the different sections of this. So let's start with New York. And then when they came up, like Tim Geddes brought up, like in Infinity War, they had like the little titles for all the places they went, and they weren't really doing that in game.
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
because they
true.
were saving it for this. When it comes up, it's like 2012 New York.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
hell yeah, or 'cause you know what movie we're going back.
Yeah.
What we're doing. It's almost like a meta thing. It's like it is 2012 New York, but to us it's like Avengers basically.
Yeah.
It's like pops up with the movie title almost.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this whole thing was just.
This was my favorite. Section of the time heist for sure.
I think so too. Yeah, because it's just it's a perfect blend of like. I'm very interested in what's going on now, but then also the nostalgia and like every single scene that they like basically recreated. It really honestly felt like that's what would have happened if the camera had kept rolling on the original Avengers.
Yeah.
Like it none of it felt like, oh, this is a modern take on that. Like it felt like, no, this feels organic.
Yeah, the deleted scenes. I was talking to a friend, like, how amazing would it if they like on the next repress or whatever of the Avengers DVDs, there was like a section like in the background where you could see the new Avengers come back. Like,
oh, that would be so
just
good.
for a moment.
That would be so good.
No, you just go into the ones now and you just zoom in at one point and you just see them.
Yeah.
Like it's there the whole
They've
time.
been plotting this the whole time.
2012.
They knew.
I did appreciate the Hulk's things, just like
Yeah.
go around, maybe smash some things. Like I was an idiot back then. It's like, what the? Yeah. So we see. I guess before we get to Hulk going to the Sorcerer's Day, I mean, we have to appreciate the Avengers.
I'm glad they showed that.
Pan thing. They showed that again. It's like, oh my god, I got instant chills. It's like, oh shit, we're doing this.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Also, I mean, the fact that they got Tom Hiddleston back was pretty cool. I appreciated that.
I mean, he has his own show now.
Yeah, I really liked how he came back. And I guess
the plot might have been set up.
Yeah,
for this.
I think
We're
so,
about to
yeah.
get to it. Yeah, that's what my immediate thought was.
Yeah,
but.
mine too.
So we have Hulk going and talking to the Sorcerer Supreme, Takeo Supreme. And I guess just like that I like the way that got wrapped up. Just skipping ahead to later when it got wrapped up, it made sense. Like he couldn't explain it to her, but then as soon as he said, "Yeah, Doctor Strange," she's like, "Oh shit, okay, I guess."
What? I haven't recruited him yet.
Which I did love that too. It's like, you're 5 years too early. He's practicing medicine down there. It's like, that's really cool. Like she knows everything that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I guess it makes sense. Hulk doesn't know that Doctor Strange was not Doctor Strange at that point in time.
Yeah, no, they didn't know anything. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that this like weird sorcerer place was in the middle of New York even in 2012 and just no one knew about it.
Well, I think that does bring up another plot point because Doctor Strange obviously meets her in like India or something. So don't know how long she was supposed to be there, but yeah.
No.
She can teleport wherever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
True. I liked her. I'm glad they brought her back too. 'Cause she wasn't seen.
And I also do like she's helping with the fight. So it's like, that was going
cool.
on, like
was
canon-wise, that was going on in the Avengers. She was helping fight things on the roof, and we just didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool if they like went back to that time and there were like other heroes that we just didn't know about. or fighting.
Yeah, they
The
should
X-Men.
re-release Avengers, and like you can see her little magic things going out in the
Yeah,
background.
yeah.
You're like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then let's go to Tony and Ant-Man are trying to get the Tesseract basically, and I did like they're Hydra agents. We didn't know it at the time. It's like they look like bad guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch Winter Soldier again, but yeah,
I
enjoyed
this
that.
movie made me want to go watch it again, especially when it looked like they were going to do the elevator scene. Which,
Yeah.
like we'll get to that. That is one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. But we're going to get to that in just a second. We'd be remiss not to talk about America's ass.
Yeah.
I'm glad they called it out.
That's
Yeah.
America's ass.
They were saying what we were all thinking about Chris Evans's ass.
Yeah.
Chris Evans'
Just
ass.
God bless Paul Rudd.
I like how they made fun of that costume too.
Oh yeah.
Like clearly his worst costume.
We didn't know what we were doing back then. Yeah, so like that was also cool how you see like this climactic scene like from the original Avengers, and then as soon as it's over, it's like, okay, all right, cool, we're done.
Yeah.
Like, you go.
Do you want a drink?
glass.
Yeah.
yeah, it was very simple. Yeah.
It's just like, yep, someone's on the phone. Or something.
And they're talking about going to that restaurant that they ate.
Yeah,
at
the
end.
shawarma.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really funny, and that's kind of like setting up. Like that's kind of more of the modern Marvel humor is like we're gonna take these crazy things that you're used to it being really climactic, and then we're gonna make it like so ordinary that it's funny, and
Yeah.
like that was kind of that. You know? Yeah. So then we move on. I'm just gonna follow Ant-Man and Thor. It's a crazy plan. Like I'm gonna give basically Tony as part of this. Is like I'm gonna let this guy give myself cardiac arrest.
Alternate timeline.
It just doesn't matter. Which I guess this timeline is just kind of fucked because Loki has the test right now.
Yeah,
It's
I'd say they're messed up. I don't know.
they're a
what's
little
gonna
messed up. Yeah.
Yeah. They fucked up.
I did appreciate that though that he goes to grab it and then boom, too many stairs.
That was a great moment because you don't expect that something's gonna go awry like that. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know they're kind of like, part of them's like, not our timeline, kind of screw it in a way, even though, they didn't have the time, no whole kind of promise to put everything back, but
They were a little reckless for sure.
yeah,
right there.
did they notice Loki went away with the?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think
They
did.
just noticed plan failed and like, let's just get out of here.
Yeah, I think they were pretty much both like knocked down, and not the way like Tony was still getting up. He just teleported. At least I didn't see anything that made me think that because they were still kind of like looking around for it. They're like,
Thor from that timeline noticed Loki was gone.
Yeah, Thor and Iron Man from that timeline noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I instantly was like, okay, this is the Loki show.
I mean, honestly, that is a pretty genius way of like setting up this alternate timeline for other things to happen in the.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
cool.
Especially since, especially during this, let's say they are setting up the Loki series in, this is how they're going to set up the Loki series, which would actually be a smart way if that's what they're planning on. Especially since this is going to be the Marvel movie like everyone who even has any interest in a Loki series is going to see.
Yeah.
So that steps
And
right there. Just
and
show a
this
little,
way
just show a little bit of this scene, a little bit or something in the show. If that's what they do, then you're fine.
yeah. And even if you do, it's like, yeah, Loki has the Tesseract. But also, as long as they don't try to connect it back to the original timeline, they can kind of do whatever the hell they want. They can play around with that show, and it doesn't matter.
No, that's why I think it's smart because they can do whatever they want with these alternate timeline crap.
Yeah,
setting that up.
Which I think it'll be a better show if you're able to give the people freedom to kind of do what they want with it. So then, let's just cut over the Cap. We have, again, I think, I don't know, like top 5 moments of the entire movie to me was he gets in the elevator. You're expecting the like Winter Soldier elevator moment where he's gonna just
Kick
lay
all the
waste
crowd.
all these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, the it's okay, Hail Hydra. I'm like, oh.
Well, he also says like the commander or whatever told me to take it. It's like, no, I didn't hear anything. It's like Hail Hydra, and they're like,
and then just that smile that Cap has as he's walking away. I was like, oh, I love it.
It was
so
like
much.
they turned one of the like most memed and horrible comic storylines in a while into like this incredible moment in a huge movie. It was awesome.
so freaking awesome, and I should have been expecting it, but I wasn't.
Yeah, no,
Because like, you're just sitting here and you're waiting for, okay, he's gonna beat them all up, and then it's like, I love it.
no, it's
so
like,
much.
yeah. You expected them to do this callback, but they actually did this callback to the comics.
Yeah, what callback are they gonna do? That's the twist. And then Cap versus Cap. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And then
I can do this all day. Like, I know.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome.
just like, oh, you idiot.
It's like every audience member ever. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was amazing. And then, yeah, that is America's ass.
Yeah.
Like,
He's right.
so good, so good. Then we get to him meeting up with Tony and Ant-Man, which I also just love the image of both of them in the car. And they're just like, we messed up. So we messed up.
Paul Rudd in this movie.
Perfect. So then we had the plan. We're going back to 1970s where whatever stone it was, I can't keep track at this point. There was that stone was at this army base, as well as more vials of that
film
time travel stuff. Yeah. Convenient, but it's good that someone knew that. It's good that he knew that.
I'm glad that they went to another time period. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. Which I do like the stakes of that is like, if this messes up, that was our last one. Like, we can't get out of here. Like, we're done now. Like, so, there were...
No, that makes sense. I mean, they set up for a potential that being all this stuff being there in other movies, so it's fine. Not like, oh, how convenient. It's like, no, I mean, they set it up enough.
Also, I mean, it provided that great moment with Howard Stark, which I'm glad that Tony was able to have.
Which, that is another thing, like, there's so much in this movie, it's kind of crazy that we even got that. Like, I feel like that could have not been there, and the movie still would have great. Not that I didn't want it to be there. I loved it. It's just like I'm so like that's the difference. Like, normally this would have been a 2.5-hour movie that didn't have that moment.
Yeah.
But instead it was a 3-hour movie that did, and
they stuck to their guns with 3 hours, and I love it so much.
I think I think that shows up in numerous ways where it's like, I think they could have been tempted easily to just not think about a lot of the movies or plot lines that people didn't like as much. And I think like the most surprising for me was like having Natalie Portman in this movie. It was just like it would be so easy just to completely forget about her.
Yeah.
But they like put her in this movie and had her record lines. It was awesome.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. I guess let's just talk about this whole thing. I mean, we can just kind of like breeze over and just talk about the whole army-based plotline in general. I really like their conversation. I have seen some people not necessarily like the Howard Stark stuff, but like I think this was, again, kind of closing Tony's storyline. The fact that he got to have this conversation with his father that he never in a million years would have thought that he would have had. And he got to see that his father was really trying and like wanted to be a good father and all this stuff. Like it was a great, it was very heartwarming. And then thank you so much for what you've done for this country. It's great. It is kind of weird that like they go back in time to this army base for like 20 minutes and they both happen to see like very important people from their past like in this 20-minute span. But,
it makes sense because they're all all these people are connected into S.H.I.E.L.D. in one way or the other.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's just it is kind of funny, but so he sees Peggy, which is nice.
Which sets up what happens at the end.
Yes, which is so great. But we'll get to that. So let's just move on.
Again, that's another cool call, or not necessarily a callback, but cool that they got that actress to come back just for like a couple scenes.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I may watch that Agent Carter show. I think I heard it was pretty good.
Let's go to Asgard, where we're going to Thor 2. It's like, oh shit. Thor 2 sucks, but we're going to try to make Thor 2 better retroactively. I like just skipping ahead to obviously Thor. Thor is still very unsure of himself, still full, fat, drunk Thor.
Super drunk.
It's like, I know where the good stuff is, Rocket, let's go.
Like, I want to see the alternate timeline where they just go get drunk in Asgard in the past and just don't even get the stuff. I love the, like, normally, and I honestly did think whenever he saw his mom, I was like, okay, this is going to be a whole thing that they're going to, like, be chased after people because she's going to realize he's not the real Thor or something. I so loved that they kind of subverted expectations, and she realizes immediately and doesn't make a big deal about it. Like, and it makes sense because, again, like she said, I see magic shit like all the time. This is nothing crazy.
Yeah. I'm thousands of years old. I've seen some shit, son.
Which like us as the audience would be like, why is this so weird to her? I feel like that's what we'd be saying if she made a big deal about it. It might be. But I really appreciated that she noticed it immediately, And just like Tony with his father, like
Yeah, exactly.
he needed to talk to a parent. That's all he needed.
Even more so. Like,
Yeah.
he's been having a tough time. It was cool him being able to have that moment with another Asgardian.
Yeah, and well, his whole family's dead.
Yeah. And his mother.
They just really nailed the mother-son dynamic. Like, it felt genuine. It felt like it felt real. And like, props to the actress too. Like, props to his mom. Like, played that. I don't know, so well.
I liked when Rocket was in Jane's room, but Jane gets up and Rocket's kind of. It's like, you can tell this is low budget and all that stuff here, but screw it.
Thinking in the background.
And then, at the end of the
Yeah,
whole
it
thing,
is.
Rocket's getting chased. The Asgard's like, get that rabbit!
Yeah, Get the Rabbits was my favorite. It's like, I almost missed it, and I was like, awesome.
I
all think he's
so
right.
I just I love Rocket running on all fours, like scrambling like a cartoon.
Oh, we gotta go!
Oh, no, just Rocket and Thor. Like, I am so freaky. I can't express how excited I am to have Thor in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I
going
hope Korg
forward.
comes too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
We can't have too many good things. Well, we can't.
Best movie in the
Honestly,
world.
just have like Taika do it. Just have him direct. It'd be awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So let's move on to the other ones. Also, another one of my favorite moments of this entire movie was the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
But the music
No
stops.
music.
Just him singing to himself. I'm
Brody's
like,
like, so he's an idiot.
Yes. But we didn't mention Thor getting Mjolnir back.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I had in here like my immediate thought whenever he gets more there is like, yeah, sweet, and then goes away. I'm like, screw that Thor, I guess. I'm like,
Yeah.
but at the end when Cap goes back with
He
all the
has
stones, he
Mjolnir.
has Mjolnir.
Yeah.
So we have to assume that he also returned.
Yeah,
Mjolnir.
I saw he had it, but I figured, he's just going to keep that as a weapon, but that makes more sense to put it back in
Yeah.
the timeline.
Otherwise, it's like, yeah, that timeline's
Yeah.
screwed. Thor just doesn't have Mjolnir.
Thor
in that.
dies.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, yep. They
Also,
just
I mean,
knocked
immediately when that happened, though, I was like, yes. What
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to happen is going to happen. You know? Like,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it later.
They're right. Like, yeah, it was awesome, but I did just in the back of my mind, I was like, screw that timeline. That timeline's fucked now. It's like, oh, that sucks. Yes, they get that from Star-Lord before he can get it.
And they punch him. And
Just so simple. And then I did I love this. I wasn't even thinking about Nebula being found out this way, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. She's a robot and she's like connecting to this AI or whatever. So like, it makes sense that when you go there would. It made sense to me that they would pick up two Nebulas because it's going.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how like high concept it actually all turned out to be. Because not only are they going through time and stuff, but the Thanos they're fighting the second time is the Thanos from 2014, who they haven't even met. It's very interesting.
Which again, like skipping ahead, I love that Scarlet Witch moment. It's like, I don't even know you. You will.
Dude, I didn't even thought about that. I was just thinking he was like making fun of her for like not being a.
No, he
Yeah.
legitimately
They're
did
like,
not know her.
I don't know any of you people, but you all seem to hate my guts.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I don't even know who you are. But
good.
I will say this particular Infinity Stone is going to be a huge problem for Cap putting it back, since it melted Nebula's hand.
There are definitely so questions about Cap.
And
What if old man Cap just like was missing one arm?
that
That would have
be
been crazy.
cool. Yeah, or like putting, because they have to put the Tesseract back into the spear or whatever too.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Kind of had to glaze over.
Hey, he has all the time he needs to get it done.
That's true.
Yeah, so they end up taking. Basically, Thanos figures out what happened. He figures out that future him did this, but then people are like, still fighting against him. They're trying to get the stones back. So they send old Nebula back in place of modern Nebula.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Which is, a cool concept, too. I mean, very good idea. Again, Thanos is just a very smart villain.
Yeah, they have Nebula kind of trapped or whatever, and I don't know if this is something.
Maybe like spy Nebula.
Yeah, and talking to Gamora, kind of like, we become friends in the future, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. This is not, you working for Thanos, not you, blah, blah, blah. I mean,
Right.
Gamora kind of knows it at this point. Like,
And this is setting up. Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
She's gonna actually turn in the future. Yeah. So, do you have anything to say about that before we go to Vormir, which is another awesome moment in this movie? So yeah, we all knew Black Widow and Hawkeye. As soon as we heard that those two were going to Vormir, it's like, okay, we know what's gonna happen.
we know what's going to happen.
So one of y'all are not making it back. We know this. And I do kind of like. I've seen some people not like it. I actually really like how much the scene, like the same music plays as when Gamora and Thanos were there, because it just seemed like it was like full circle. It's like this is, it's like all the scenery and stuff's the same. The music is the same and everything, because it's just like it reflects the two a lot, and it kind of shows you the difference. Like Thanos didn't think twice about it. He's like, I'm sacrificing you, you're gone. Whereas these are so desperate, they're literally fighting each other to commit suicide.
I really like that part.
Yeah.
I was not expecting them to like continue to fight each other, sacrifice.
Until the very end.
It definitely was. They're like, if you guys keep fucking around, you're both gonna die. If you keep messing around with this, like, make some decision.
Yep.
But yeah, this is, again, like I said, Scarlett Johansson in this movie was just so good to me. Whenever she's like, it's okay, like, oh, it got me.
Yeah. And from Black Widow's perspective, and then there's obviously a big thing. She's like, they mentioned the Avengers are her family, so she'd do anything for them. And Hawkeye has a family besides the Avengers and Black Widow to get back. So even from that perspective, Black Widow was like, I'm not gonna let you. If we succeed, I don't want your family to lose you as well. Like you lost them.
As sad as it is, Black Widow is the obvious choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Black Widow more, and I would have loved to seen her continue, which she might be. She's getting her own movie. I don't know if it's prequel or not.
I think it's supposed to. I think they said that even before this.
There we go. But she's the one that it's like, she should be the one, realistically, as sad as it is, just because.
I appreciate, and same thing with, I guess, our present Gamora. They kept them dead.
Yeah, I hope they keep them dead. I hope the stakes really stay.
Yeah, I mean, well, they kind of have an out with Gamora because now there's a version.
Yeah, I agree, but that at least adds a nice little.
Yeah.
Oh, and like that's actually like it's almost like that is they're able to keep a Gamora, but it is a little like bittersweet to me because like
they lost all their
it's never
friendship.
going to be the same.
Yeah,
like even if she develops a relationship with Star-Lord again, it's never going to be the same because he has feelings and memories of her that she's just never going to have.
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of sad. It's
for sure.
But it keeps the stakes. Like
and even with Nebula, it's like the stuff that made Nebula, realize she loved Gamora and all that stuff. Gamora doesn't have that context for that. I mean, not that that's going to be a problem and stuff, but still going to have something there.
But it's definitely going to be like almost like a more exaggerated version of her saying like, this is the guy I fall in love with. It's going to be a lot of like everyone else expecting her to act like their Gamora, and she's going to be like, I'm not that Gamora. I'm a different person. You can't expect these things from me. Like,
I bet one joke is going to be Star-Lord plays one of his 80s songs. Gamora's like, what is this? This is awful. And he's like, oh, no. You love this song.
Were you lying to me the whole time? Is this your true feeling?
I wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, that I don't know. Yeah, that could be really good. So, yep, Black Widow dies. Hawkeye wakes up with the stone, cries. We cry. Everyone cries.
They all go back to every person goes back to the present, and there was like, "Yo, where's no? Well, we're missing one. Where's Black Widow?" And Hawkeye just goes with the knees.
Natasha?
Yep. They do the little kind of mini funeral thing.
Ugh, brutal.
Yep.
Fucking brutal. Okay, so everyone's back. We have all the stones. He has a cool new Iron Man gauntlet that's all like red and gold and stuff.
He's quick with these things now.
Very quick with these things. Super duper quick with these things.
He's like Batman. He's all this prepared.
Yeah.
What do you think he's been doing for 5 years? Raising his kid?
Alfred, I meant Jarvis, I meant Friday. Make this for me.
Happy, make me a gauntlet. Because Happy did not get snapped.
No. So obviously, I think there's Hulk and Thor are probably the only two that could have done this, but Hulk's doing this.
Yeah, because they're like, Thor, you're in no mental state to do anything.
Fair enough. So Hulk is gonna do the snap. I like they close all the things. I was like, maybe you guys should go stand outside of the wall, but
It was
you
cool
know,
they all,
hey.
like suited up though and like protected each other.
Yeah, but see, like pretty thin
Well,
protection.
sure.
Like
It was just cool.
if
fun.
Iron Man's arm falls, then whoever was behind him
Hawkeye.
is dead. It's like, guys, maybe step, because how much would that suck? Like from their realistic scenarios, like, yeah, we brought everyone back, but everyone in this room died for the blast. It'd be like, oh, you're a bunch of idiots, I guess. But he does it.
I
Completely fries his arm.
I saw where, I guess it was a small a callback. In the original Avengers, Tony says something about like that he was probably made for some purpose or something like that, and people were saying that this is probably it, that he's able to use the gauntlet. It was pretty cool.
Could see that. So he brings it back. Somehow Ant-Man is able to tell just because of rays of sunlight that it worked.
No.
The birds, right?
No, I think because there were a bunch more birds there.
Yeah.
Okay. That was
Because
just
all living things.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Like it just seemed like I wasn't paying. I guess I didn't pay close enough attention because it's just seemed
I had the same thought. It's like, how can the birds?
it's like it's a new day. Look at the sun. I could just feel
Half the sun's back.
I really did think that part of like Hulk doing this, I thought he was gonna have to sacrifice this Professor Hulk persona. I thought it would mean a lot if like not only would he like maybe hurt himself physically, but the actual toll it would take on him would make him revert back to like the monster Hulk from the Avengers. I thought that would have been cool, but alas.
I was also wondering, just looking at his arm, is he gonna lose that arm?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
looks rough. Yeah, it's rough. But no, then Hawkeye gets called back from his wife. It's like, hey, everyone's back. We know, and everyone's back. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah,
Avengers
that
Tower
was-
gets destroyed.
Yep.
And like, God, what a brutal scene. Just when it doesn't just collapse. It like goes into the earth.
Yeah.
Like down many stories. I was like, are we gonna lose someone here? This is the first time in the movie where I'm like, maybe someone's gonna die in this collateral. This is, we're getting to that point, but no one dies here. You do see Rhodey like get out of his suit. He's paralyzed and crawl over to save Rocket, right? Rocket, yeah. Which is, man, props to him, I guess.
And then Ant-Man saves both of them, which was cool. Giant Man reappears.
Giant man.
I'm the one that got really big. Yeah, just love that. So yeah, everyone gets out. Then we have Iron Man, Hulk, and Captain America approaching him. And they're like, "Yep, he's just sitting there." And they're like, this is a trap, right? It's like, "Yeah, do you care?" Nah. we don't care. We're gonna go after him. Yeah,
And
which I appreciate that. And I did love when they do confront Thanos, and you're kind of wondering, like, he's just sitting here. It's like, what's he doing? Like, what is he thinking about there? And like, I don't know why, but I loved so much. My biggest praise for Thanos in the Infinity War is that obviously what he's doing is messed up, but you understand his reasoning for it. Like, it makes sense what he's trying to do. Like, he thinks he's the good guy in the story, and it makes sense. And it just shows how smart he is, like how he's able to think of all this. And then when he came to the conclusion, he was like, my flaw was that you knew about your past before. And he was like, yeah, if no one knew, and he's like, yeah, you would kill millions, or like you would have killed millions of people. It's like, yeah, but they would never know. Yeah. And I'm like, I just didn't even think about that. I was like, that's kind of brilliant. Like, because he's right. He's probably right. If that did happen, then the world would have just kept going, and he could just do this periodically every millions of years ago. So I don't know. I just love that. I just love that. That was really cool to me. And then we have the battle scene with them. This is the beginning of what ends up being like a 30-minute epic.
Starts out with Cap, Thor, Iron Man, and then ends up with 90 heroes.
You got Thor, get suits up, has a murder, and Stormbreaker.
Yeah, that was
dual-handed.
Cool.
And
then
he's Viking. Big Viking dude.
I think that's what I liked. Even though he wasn't traditional Thor, I loved how he was just a straight Viking god. Big and big bearded.
He looked like freaking Robert Baratheon with a beer gut.
Yeah. Just even though he's fat, you would not mess with him.
Oh, no. I was the same thing with Robert Baratheon. It was like, he can
true.
still mess you up. He might look fat and old and bad, but he can still mess you up. Yeah, dual wielding those is great, but Thanos starts wrecking shit.
Yep.
I forgot, like, he like kind of wrecks them all individually, but the one that sticks in my mind was just tearing apart Cap's shield.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but you could see even without the stones, Thanos is just a freaking behemoth.
Yeah. Well,
you saw that at the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that in the beginning of Infinity War. Yeah, you see him beating up Thor without the use of any stones.
Yeah.
Or Hulk, I mean, and Thor as well.
Yeah. And then the moment, one of the moments of the show. You see Mjolnir coming, and where is it going? Is it going to Thor? No, it's not.
Well,
Cap grabs
You see that moment of it.
You see it fly towards Thanos. It hits him, then it comes back into
Yeah.
Cap's hand. And I kind of told you something a little wrong, Darby. You know, I mentioned to you the other day that on Age of Ultron, you know, they all lifted up. Cap didn't do it. I was wrong. He did do it.
Yeah,
but
shakes.
Yeah, Cap lifted up barely, and
bit,
Thor's the only one who noticed it, and he had this oh shit face on him.
It's a really cool moment. You don't remember it?
And when people have said it's been a lot, I only saw Ultron the one time in the theater.
It's really cool. It does like this whole like a rack focus, so it's focusing up close on him holding the hammer, and it like tilts up a little bit, and then it focuses back out onto Thor, who's like directly behind, and his face is just like.
Yeah, he's the only one who notices. Like,
and then it like cuts, and Cap's like, can't do it, and he's like. Ha ha! Like,
yeah, and that's and that's why Thor goes like, I knew it when he.
They've been setting this up for so long.
Yeah, it was
that's
great.
so good.
That small moment in Ultron was awesome.
And I just love the choreography of them, like, you know, throwing it back and forth together and switching the weapons and hitting.
Oh yeah.
No, you get the small one.
Yeah.
I love. Yeah, Mjolnir's the small one now. That's all. This one's been delegated too. That was so awesome. But even despite that. Shit's not looking good, and that shot of just Cap and the army, like that's gonna be a poster for sure. It's like all of Thanos' army on one side and just Cap. Oh, it's amazing. And then the other moment.
Yeah, two moments back to
this
back.
This movie is just like an endless string of the moment. The Cap on your left, and then. Just 90.
Falcon's been waiting years to say that.
Dude, yeah. That is funny that he said that. I didn't realize that was a callback until.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like,
that's cool. I was like, yeah, my boy.
And I love that what feels like 7 minutes straight, we're introducing characters, and you care so deeply about all of them.
Yeah.
It's like this moment is what we've been building up to for 22 movies, and it's just insanity.
I think
it does this for this long, and again, I'm like, yes, them.
That moment of like, you see one portal, and you're like, okay, and then it's just like multiple, and you're like, oh my god.
And then you see whole armies like guardians and sorcerers and stuff. You're like, yes.
That was the moment where I was like, this is literally everything I've ever wanted. Just like, and it, like, there's that one shot of just the Thor or the hammer going back to Cap, and then it shows all like the bad guys on one side and the army of Avengers on the other, and that's when he
it just kept it going, and you know, at some point like the Wasp comes up, I'm like, yes, even her, yes.
That was sweet. Yeah.
It just keeps, and like this is something like we all knew something like this would probably happen, but it still was like it was so much better than I even could have imagined.
No, that's the thing. There are many things in this movie that, well, especially at the climax right here or this part, we expected this to happen, but the way it was set up and everything, and just how it was done, it's like A+. And I didn't notice this while I was watching the movie, obviously, but people pointed it out. There was a surprise guest in the crowd. Howard the motherfucking...
I heard about it. I have not seen the picture.
I don't think I've seen the picture either. So you put Howard the Duck in, but not Daredevil?
Hey, he was actually an MCU movie, though.
Oh my
god. That's silly. And then...
The true hero.
Avengers Assemble.
Yep.
Avengers.
Like,
you knew that line was coming.
I've seen almost everyone say, and like I agree, like that was almost the moment where I teared up the most. It's a battle moment. It's not even like an emotional character moment, but the Avengers and that pause Assemble.
That like
Yes.
I literally could not smile any more than that.
Yes.
I was
I'm like smiling ear to ear, just talking about it right now.
yeah.
Oh, so good.
Oh,
All right, we need to guys. We need to go see this movie again.
I'm
Let's
seeing
go.
it Saturday. If you want to go, are you working Saturday?
I'm working.
Damn it. Well, maybe we could do it.
What time you seeing it?
Friday. We don't know yet.
Okay. If it's late, I can go right next door.
Right now. Yeah, let me know, because we
Yeah.
can probably be flexible. Yeah, I mean, this is what we're talking about. Infinity War versus Endgame. I love Infinity War so much, but the sheer amount of times in this movie like that, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well,
this
and
is
it
something
had
I
more-
have never experienced before in my life. This is insanity.
Well, and it had more character moments and all that kind of stuff and that adds on to it significantly.
Oh, so much. I absolutely adore the first hour and a half of this movie, but then we just break into
Everything.
freaking 20 straight minutes of insanity.
That first moment, so like I remember whenever Civil War came out, and they all like line up and then run towards each other, and you have that cool moment where they're all fighting, and it was like I always really loved that moment. I love Civil War, but I was always like, there's like 10 heroes. But here it was like everything I could have imagined. It was like
I mean, at the
armies.
time, Civil War, like, even that battle felt crazy
no,
to
it
me.
was
Because
awesome,
like
yeah.
how many and I care about everyone on both sides. Like you just saw the shot of them running at each other. It's like, how are there this many people that I care this much about? And now that seems quaint. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems quaint now after this battle.
And that was 2016, right?
Yeah, that was only 3 years ago, which is insane. They introduced that many people.
Yeah, jeez. And I mean, even when they were making this movie, they probably didn't expect people to be literally like shouting in the movie theater when Black Panther came on. Because at the time they were making this movie, they were like, I don't even know if Black Panther's gonna work. Is it gonna be a big deal? But that's just like probably a happy surprise for them, because when he came on, everyone in our theater was like,
Yeah, and the Guardians and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange all coming out of that one portal from the plant. Or from Titan.
Yeah, and I loved so much. I mean, it's no secret that me and Jeff, like, Spider-Man is at least my favorite hero. Homecoming is amazing. I just love Tom Holland as Spider-Man so much, and I just loved him. Tony Stark, Mr. Stark, you'll never guess what happened. I just woke up and Doctor Strange said that it's been 5 years. We have to really come.
Woke up and you were gone, or no.
And-
Like when I was turning to dust or something.
Oh, and that was such a cool way to let the audience know how this works. Like,
How to look like from the people that got dusted. It's just like they took a little nap or something.
yeah, and that everyone came back pretty much right where they were dusted. But that did make me think, like, what if people were like in a plane when they got dusted?
Oh my gosh.
Are they just gonna come back in midair? Like,
some people, I don't know if it's an official thing. Some people said because it's based off intent from the person who snapped it. It's probably like Hulk snapped and it's like whoever did it like is in a safe situation and stuff.
okay.
That would be hilarious.
But also one thing, what was stopping them from saying, "I wish everyone who was dusted was back and Vision and Black Widow were back"? What stopped them from saying that?
He said he tried Black Widow and she.
Well, Black Widow makes a little more sense because she's in the Soul Stone.
The Soul Stone.
Yeah.
But the other like dead heroes, like Quicksilver, like I don't know why technically he wouldn't be able to like bring people.
And even
alive.
that was far enough back. I could forgive Hulk for maybe not thinking about that, but Vision was definitely one that it feels like you should.
Well, I guess.
I'm gonna be Robotus or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that
Maybe he
he's
doesn't
not
care.
technically human, so that may not be.
he's not living.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I look at it this way. Yeah, you can do that, but I like it how people who weren't dusted, anyone who died in these two movies that weren't dusted, stayed dead.
I mean,
So we got consequences.
Well, don't get me
bitches.
wrong, Jeff. From a narrative perspective, I prefer this so much more. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
does it logically make sense? And maybe it doesn't, but whatever.
Whatever.
What we've learned is that Hulk doesn't care about Vision.
That's exactly what was said.
Yeah. All right. So then we have everything going on. Just so much going on.
Yeah.
It starts with it's the kind of get the football to the end zone thing.
Yeah,
The gauntlet.
we start off with
Starts with
Hawkeye having it.
I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah.
Kind of why I think the whole Cap or the trio battle against Thanos was going on. I think is when that started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then was it an Ant-Man reference? The car. I just assumed that was an Ant-Man thing that I didn't get.
The Spider-Man instant kill mode might have been my favorite moment.
Yes.
Yes. That was another callback. That was probably originally they just did that as a joke, and then they're like, "Hey, we could use that. We could use that."
I loved it.
Guys, we got 2 months until Far From Home.
I've been so preoccupied with Endgame that I've forgotten that there's a new freaking Spider-Man movie coming out in like 2 months.
So then it leads up to the all-woman scene, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, we have before that Captain Marvel just showing it coming up. Badass.
Yeah. I was about to ask, was that before that? No, it was before that because she's the
one that like led it. Yeah.
But
she came in
when everything points up. They're like, "What's it pointing up at?" It's like, we know what it's pointing up at.
When she's kind of battling, like Thanos headbutts her, and she's like, she kind of smirks.
Nah. She wasn't in the movie much, but at least this was a badass way to introduce break into this fight. And it was another, she broke in late, so it's not like she was just overpowering people for the whole time. But it was still really awesome. And then we get the awesome shot with all the female. So
they kind of did this in Infinity War too, but this one felt way more epic. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, because in Infinity War, it was I always forget her name, the Black Panther, Okoye.
Shuri. Oh, Okoye,
yeah. Black Widow and Scarlet Witch were the only three really involved in the Infinity War. This one, it was
basically
it's like 24 people.
Everyone except Janet, basically.
This did kind of feel like Marvel being like, "Look how far we've come. We can fill up a whole screen."
It definitely obviously that was a very PC move, but it was one of those things where I was like, "This is cool. I don't care." It was awesome.
No, it was badass. Yeah. And it's another one of those things that I saw someone you retweeted and I retweeted it too, was saying yeah, guys, if you're gonna complain about this, just replace it with all dudes. Would you blink an eye?
Exactly.
Would you even mention it once if it was a bunch of guys in a long shot going this? No, you wouldn't say a word.
Yeah,
this is not any different. It was badass in a film full of badass movie moments. Yeah, it was. I loved it.
It only needed Howard the Duck.
Yes. He just at the very end.
It is kind of sad that Black Widow wasn't there for that.
The original MCU woman.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I guess Pepper was the original MCU woman. She was there.
Yeah.
That's true. We didn't even talk about Pepper's freaking outfit.
Pepper's
awesome.
suit.
Yeah. Hers a badass. Her and Tony fighting with each other, spinning around with the lasers.
That was a cool moment. Man, I love this movie.
I'm like, God. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. That's freaking amazing. Yeah, are there any we're gonna start wrapping up this battle? Or is there any other battle stuff that we need to talk about that we forgot? I did love. I love the passing of the gauntlet from character to character. Black Panther.
Yeah, I noticed. Someone was talking about how I think it's Black Panther right after Hawkeye, and I think in Civil War he basically disses Hawkeye.
He said, "I'm Clint. I don't care."
Yeah, I don't care. And then he calls him by name in this one, which was cool.
Also, I just appreciate. He's like, Queens or whatever, and I think he was the one that said Queens, but he throws Mjolnir and then
just
Spider-Man attaches to it and just goes flying.
Yeah,
Queens.
I just want that to be used as an attack in the future. Just throw Mjolnir, attach Spider-Man to it, and they send them flying.
DLC for Ultimate Alliance Leader.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or Paxton, or already in the game.
Also,
if Thor is ever introduced into Insomniac Spider-Man, I want to see that there too.
The moment with Groot and Rocket kind of protecting him or whatever. That was nice.
God, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there were some moments that didn't get enough, or not enough relationships that were able to come back together in that moment. But
it was kind of hard because it's kind of all these people suddenly come back and everything. I just remembered the whole Star-Lord and Gamora scene.
And we'll probably talk about this later too, but Cap and Bucky never really had that moment that I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that point. Yeah. I'll save it for there.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of Bucky, something else about the Cap fight to defeat him. Our Cap is like, Bucky's alive. Past Cap is like, wait, what? And then
he knows himself. He knows what would cause him to stop.
And then, one of the things from my head is like, oh, yeah, he doesn't know Bucky's alive at this point.
So cool. So cool.
So many things.
Okay, so we get to the end. Thanos, like, there was multiple times Thanos was like inches away from.
Well,
doing
can we talk about how all the power rests in literally having to snap? I think that's like the funniest thing for some reason. Like, he can't just have the stones and like will it. He has to do the action.
It was like, was there some god that was like, no, they have to snap.
Yeah.
This won't work.
I mean,
This
like,
don't
it was
work
a-
if they don't snap.
Yeah, I guess for big things you gotta snap, but for regular things, remember Infinity War when they were fighting him, they just stopped him from closing his hand. He couldn't do anything until he at least closed his hand.
Yeah.
Or like the.
Oh, and he was able to like use the stones and stuff to do a bunch of stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, like, clearly the gauntlet is metal, so I have no idea how he's making that snapping sound in a metal gauntlet.
just like loud snapping sound. Yeah.
He used the snap from the stones to make the sound to make it sound cool.
But I do appreciate like they got like he knew it wasn't gonna happen, but like he got so close to it so many times that the tension was really there. He would get close, they would make him stop, and then he'd get close again and make him stop. But it never really felt like it was one of those things. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, oh well, Thanos could have won if he didn't just. Like, it wasn't like Thanos was monologuing, like sitting here, like, I'm gonna snap.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he was trying to snap. You know, he was,
several times. Yeah.
yeah, which is a problem in a lot of things. That I didn't feel that. But finally, he thinks he's got it. He snaps. Nope. Tony's taking all the gems
Somehow.
He's I am inevitable. I am Iron Man.
Yeah, wonderful callback to the first movie.
And apparently that was not in the original script.
Yeah,
they
RDJ
didn't
did
film
that.
that until like 2 months ago. Because one of the like side editors was like, "Well, if he just says I am Iron Man," they're like, "We gotta film right now."
And what's awesome was that original line from the first movie was improvised by Robert Downey Jr.
And both of those things, like, can you imagine this MCU if that moment didn't happen? It would have been so much worse if he still had a secret identity for a while. Like, no, that moment, like, kick-started all of this. It was, the amazing, like, full circle. And then I was like worried whenever we popped back in and Iron Man wasn't immediately dead. I was like, don't keep him alive. Like, this is gonna be some bullshit if you make him survive this. But they did not. I was just worried.
Yeah.
I would have liked for him to survive, but the way that he had to like use the gauntlet, obviously it wouldn't work.
I mean,
Like, it would have been
narratively, it would have been weak narratively to me.
Oh,
Like, he
yeah,
needed
for
to
sure.
die in the narrative.
Yeah.
He's no Hulk or Thanos.
And, he's an ordinary dude. This thing almost killed Hulk and Thanos. If he survived, it would have been.
Definitely.
It would have been weird. And then, this moment, you see, like, I love through all of this, he is just, like, he's so, like,
He doesn't even speak.
he doesn't even speak a word.
Yeah.
Like, I think he says, "Hey, Pepper." Like, he comes back for a second and says something to her. But aside from that, like, he's out of it. And I think Robert Downey Jr.'s acting was so good in this. And you get the reverse of the moment with Peter. And this is, like, the tears start coming there. Cause, I mean, just Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr., I care about those characters the most, and they're like two of the best actors. And then I love that it's him and Pepper that have the moments. Like, it's the people that matter the most. And the line, like, "It's okay. We're gonna be okay. You can rest now."
Yeah, that was a hard one.
That's my favorite quote of the whole movie, and that's the one that like I started to not be able to see the screen as well because of tears.
I think the way that Gwyneth Paltrow, is that her name? Paltrow? The way that she says that line meant a lot too, because it wasn't like she was saying it through tears or whatever. Like, you could tell she was staying strong so that he would know that they were okay. And I think that's what like hurt me the most, is that she's trying to stay strong so that he'll feel okay for everything. That was hard to sit through for sure.
And as soon as he dies, she does break down. It's
when he
like
dies.
she was holding all of that in.
Yeah,
The delivery of that line was just like I said, how it comes full circle. She's like, you would never be able to rest if you didn't do this. You'd never be able to rest. And it's like, we're gonna be okay. You can rest now. Like,
And Thanos and his men disappear.
Nope. Yep.
Yep, Thanos just kind of walks around, see his minion does it, and he kind of just sits down accepting his fate and disappears.
Which one thing that's slightly unclear to me, like someone like Gamora, is she gone? She was part of Thanos' crew, or did Tony just say like everyone loyal to Thanos dies? Boom.
everyone but Gamora, who I've never met.
Because like, I mean,
I imagine
if
it was
he just said all of Thanos' crew dies, then Gamora would go too.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think
I
about
imagine it was. I mean, it's probably just loyal to Thanos, whatever. Either way, it's That if Gamora's alive, that's how I'm just going to accept it like head canonly because that's
I just like to think like Tony's like Thanos and his boys die, and then some god's like, how do we interpret this? Thanos and his boys, huh?
Well, and even if it's like crew or something, Gamora betrayed, so he's technically not part of the crew. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's nothing really to think about unless she's destined for something, and I don't think she is.
Right.
We talked about this afterwards. They would have made it perfectly clear if she was gone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
She's definitely alive.
I think not showing her could be a way to say she's gone, but I think she's still there. I do think she's still there, but yeah.
I mean, that'd be weird going into Guardians 3 where they're probably going to be trying to look for her if she's dusted.
Yeah, but why is she not there with them? Like at the end of that battle, then if she was not dusted?
Because she doesn't know these people.
Like, are we just to believe she just left immediately? Like
yes.
As soon as the battle was over, she just bailed?
Pretty much.
Trying to get back.
I mean, after Tony dies, we just kind of cut forward or whatever, so they all just kind of go their separate ways, and Gamora just kind of runs off because she doesn't really know anyone.
Yeah, I mean, like, Nebula was right there with it. I don't know. I can buy it, but I could also buy her staying there with them if she was alive. We'll just have to see.
Nah, she's 100% alive. They definitely would have showed her.
Yeah, I think that's the plot of Guardians 3. Probably.
No, I think so too. But.
So it cuts to Tony's funeral, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. That was the next thing.
That was a hard moment too. Yeah, seeing all the Avengers families and stuff there was really cool.
Just panning back over all these people.
And that kid from Iron Man 3.
Yeah, which I did not catch. I did not notice that. But
I was trying to figure out who it was in the theater, but yeah, cool that they brought him back. I mean, another character you would never think about.
Like, I don't recognize kids, so like, I'm just going to assume it's that kid.
Yeah. I love them using the original, the
actor.
proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
The arc reactor.
The arc reactor, yeah. That was great. And this was just like, I could not think of a better send-off for Tony. It just, for this whole thing to come full circle. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just such a beautiful send-off to Tony Stark as a character and Robert Downey Jr. in this.
Well, for some reason, I mean, yeah, definitely. I thought it was awesome because, not only are they mourning, the character, but I think you could also interpret that as just mourning like this incredible actor, this character that everyone's come to love for so long in a meta kind of way. But I thought with Happy talking to Morgan at the end, I think for some reason that might have even struck me more just because I'm thinking of like Jon Favreau as being like really the original, like the creator of this universe in some way. I thought that was really cool. Like, could you like this one director, he just created Iron Man, and now he's surrounded by all these other characters that came out of that. So I really like that moment, just from a meta perspective like that.
And now he's going to guide Peter.
Yeah, good old Happy.
Good old Happy. We have Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch kind of talking about Black Widow and Vision.
I forgot we actually probably skipped the part where Tony talks to his daughter through the
the video, like the video thing here recorded.
Which is when I Love You 3000 comes back.
Yeah.
I think that was the one moment where I like actually had tears.
I had them multiple. I was tearing up multiple times, and then I think like during this funeral thing is when I actually had like tears come down.
Yeah.
And like when he's like, "What a world." Well, I guess universe actually, and like that was also kind of a meta thing too.
Yeah,
it's just like what started out as such a small thing. It's like, oh, I guess
started out in a cave in the desert.
Yeah.
It's ended up the galaxy spanning.
Yeah.
Insanity, and then it's crazy. I think he says 10 years ago too, or something like that. Because in their timeline, I guess it's also been 10.
Yeah, might have said more because at that point in time, you're like 15-ish years ago.
15, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and maybe he didn't even say that, but he was he was reminiscing, and it's definitely a very meta moment for like the whole thing. Yeah, it's beautiful. And yeah, Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, I like their connection. They're like definitely, that's where it more establishes that Vision is dead. Mm-hmm. Even though WandaVision's going to be a thing, so who knows?
I mean, it's probably just going to be a prequel kind of thing. Probably.
I've heard it's supposed to take place in the 50s, but I have no idea how that's supposed to take place.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like,
I've not heard that.
Yeah.
How's that work?
I don't know, but yeah,
unless
they've been talking about it. Or at least the
super alternate.
Apparently, there's a promo of them like dressed in 50s clothes or something.
Weird. I mean, I'm up for at least giving these Disney Plus Marvel shows a chance, but
Scarlet Witch is not one of those that's been around for like hundreds of years or anything like that, right? And
No.
she didn't know him.
she's in her 20s probably.
I guess it's her magic is so underdeveloped that I'm sure she could time travel if she wanted to, but I don't know how Vision would like come into that. Unless this takes place like before Infinity War and they were just like goofing around.
Yeah, that's like if it is a prequel, it feels weird because we saw them meet, and it was decently late in the MCU that they met and became an item. So it's like there's not a big window for that to have taken place in.
There's a couple year window,
and like I feel like nothing of too much significance could happen because we saw them afterwards. We saw everything. I don't know, but we'll just have to see what they do with that. I hope they don't bring them back though, because again, I want this to feel as media.
I mean, they have now these alternate timelines, so they can just maybe use it. It's technically after the events of when Infinity War would be, but all these people survive because now there's a timeline where Thanos is dead, and gone without a trace.
Which the 2014 timeline is looking pretty good now.
Yeah,
the Guardians have no worries.
Oh yeah, the thing about it, they just killed 2014 Thanos. Yeah, like, where's chilling, man?
Star-Lord's like, ow. Who just knocked me out?
Yeah, he got a
where's the stone?
Star-Lord got a concussion, but aside from that, everything's pretty good. Yeah, everyone should just like bump over to 2014 and just live that out. Like let's just chill. I was gonna say I do appreciate because like I assumed time travel stuff like was gonna happen, but I thought it was gonna be like we're all gonna move to before Infinity War happened or during Infinity War.
That was my fear.
Basically, try again. Basically, but I appreciate that Thanos. That's how that story went. He won and then he died.
And then he died.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It was a different Thanos that they felt like that Thanos. That's how that story went, and that's how that story always ends. And like that's cool to me. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I think that is cool. There are two distinct Thanoses that were both kind of defeated. One after the fact.
I wouldn't say so. I would say our Thanos won.
Yeah.
Like I think him losing his life is not even that important to him. Like
true.
I feel like he went to that garden full well knowing that they might find him and kill him, and he's like, it's okay. I did what I was gonna do. I guess he would prefer to live, obviously, but if he's not going to, it's fine too.
That was life as a potato farmer.
Thanos the potato farmer. Then I don't think there's anything else. Or there's Peter Parker goes back. We assume I guess all of his entire class and all of his friends got dusted.
The directors, the Russos said that 100% of his friends are gone. So Zendaya and Fat Kid. No, that was his name. What's his name? Ned. Yeah. Ned and Zendaya, I guess, were dusted, but all the other like classmates, like it was just random. So apparently, Far From Home is going to be about him like having to assimilate after
that's
all
super
of his
cool.
Classmates have
gone. I immediately thought like you're gonna have some program for the kids that were dusted because they're suddenly like 5 grades behind where they would have been. So it's,
weird.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't age at all, so they just go back to what grade they were.
Yeah, but it'd be like all your friends are like getting ready to go to college and stuff, and you're like back
in college,
and you're back here. It would just be weird.
Yeah, I would say the only ones that need to really be dusted are Ned and MJ, and maybe another one or two that were shown prominently.
I wonder if May was.
Yeah, they never mentioned. It'll probably get mentioned in Far From Home.
True.
Yeah, probably. So they're reunited. I feel there was Hawkeye being reunited with his family.
You skipped over the whole Thor stuff, Darby.
Oh, true.
I was gonna get to that. I thought I had it listed after that, but it doesn't matter. The order. We'll go there now. So Thor makes Valkyrie Queen of Asgard.
Asgard.
Of New Asgard. I think she'll be a better ruler than Fat Thor, who's trying to soul search. So, we want this Thor. So we don't want Thor to be held down by being a ruler. So I think that's cool. I'm excited to see her in future stuff. To see. I'm sure we have not seen the last of her. But it frees up the Asgardians of the galaxy.
Yep.
Which is maybe the best joke in this entire movie. And
it's a comic.
The whole we know who's in charge. It's you. Of course, it's you.
That made me so happy at the end that Thor seems to be joining them, and I know, they're setting up that he's. I want them to officially confirm it. I know they probably want to wait, confirm that he's going to be in Guardians 3.
I worry a little bit because the script has been made for a while, but they've known what they were working with.
Yeah, I mean, the script for this was made a while ago, and James Gunn was obviously in on it.
Yeah, because if so, Guardians 3 just got so much better.
Yeah. Plus, they're not starting the film till next year, so.
Yeah. Hopefully Suicide Squad's good.
The Suicide Squad.
Some kind of Suicide Squad.
God, screw that movie. Oh, I hate that movie so much. Okay, and then now we have the Cap thing, which I feel like we'll probably talk about this for a good bit, and then that'll be it. So yeah, Cap is gonna take all the stones back, send him in the thing. It's gonna be 5 seconds for him, much longer for them. And I think obviously in hindsight, even as it was happening, I was like, why is Bucky saying goodbye to him if it's only gonna be 5 seconds? Like that's a little weird. It's obvious. I think Bucky knew that he was gonna do this. Like I think Bucky knows Cap well enough.
I mean, that would make sense because he was the one who was like looking for the bench and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and told Sam.
Yeah, that's what. And like people were like, yeah, but Bucky didn't really get a moment with Cap at the end. I felt like that was his moment with Bucky. Like Bucky knew, like knew his friend. He knew what he was gonna do. So yeah, anyway, he gets sent, and this is where like there's just a little confusion as far as the time travel.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
Like I've seen people explain it in ways that like it's convoluted and like it seems it didn't need to be this complicated, but they can make it work. Like that he traveled to our time in the future, like from that he lived out his life in this other dimension, then traveled back to our time.
Yeah.
And then just walked over to the bench. It seems like it would have been way easier to just he appears back on the thing old and he's like, hey, yo, I love that whole life there. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much what happened, unless something crazy is. I mean, it doesn't make complete sense no matter how you put it. But the thing that makes the most sense, he went to the alternate dimension, pretty much lived up to about the point of this time in that dimension, traveled back to this timeline. Yeah, went over there, but the thing doesn't make sense is it should have been on, like you said, that platform.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think what you're supposed to take away is that he went to these other places, right?
Mm-hmm.
These other timelines, and then his last thing that he did was go back in time to 45 or whatever.
Yeah, when
and then just lived out his life, and then he knew what the Avengers would be doing on.
No, but that was a different timeline. Like that, the thing he went to wouldn't have been that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's the story. That's the one that makes no sense. Like if that is the version they're going with,
I think that's the one they want you to think is because that's why he appeared on the bench. But that doesn't make any sense for the time rules that they set up.
Yeah, because they made it clear that when you travel back in time does not influence that. Him going in there and living out his life would it affect their timeline, so that doesn't work.
Yeah, the only way this makes sense is
he jumped back.
Is if the whole life he lived with Peggy was not in our timeline.
Yeah, and he just had that little time watch thing just kind of laying around until he used it at the end, probably after Peggy died.
Because if he was in our timeline, that means there would have to be 2 Caps and 2 Peggys.
So I don't.
And even now, it wouldn't.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why they had it in like that because that definitely broke their rules that they set up.
And like I said, it would have been so easy. Like they wanted to be able to find him on the bench, but it would have been just as shocking if you sent him in there young and he came back old. We would have been like, whoa, like.
Yeah, we just see with the suit and then he takes the helmet off and then we just see.
yeah. I feel like that could have worked, and then there would not be really there would be no questions. It'd be like, oh yeah. We know what happened.
They just wanted you to have that period where he's like, why isn't he back? It's been 5 seconds. And which just
I hope
make
that
sense.
And I have a feeling they're just never going to explain this. I don't think it's really going to come up again.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of wonder, did they just blatantly break their own rules? Which
for the sake of narrative.
If they did, it kind of sucks because they were literally making fun of Ant-Man earlier for it's like, no, you don't understand time travel.
I read an interview thing. I can't remember if this one was from the Russo brothers or some of the other writers, but I did think they did say that it was the whole alternate dimension thing. But again, it just doesn't make sense from the whole he should have came back on the platform thing because they said it could be however long he was, but he will come back to that point in 5 seconds.
Yeah. I guess, when you're using those time travel things, you can kind of time travel to any place you want, right?
You can, but when you jump back, it will be at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
because it's kind of an anchor.
I mean, could he have like teleported? So it would have just like the thing they're doing would have just forced him to come back at that spot, even if he specified, "I want to come back somewhere else."
That is kind of
because I mean, I guess he could have come back at that time somewhere else, and then I guess walked to the bench.
That would have been like a different
Like
dimension, or I don't know.
Because I don't know. Time travel.
Yeah, I just don't know the positioning. Like I don't know if he can control completely where he wants to show back up, and I guess if he can control that, then he just wanted to surprise them. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna come back on the platform. I'm gonna come back in this bitch.
Aside from this weird time travel stuff, do you like this ending for Cap more than if he had sacrificed himself?
I liked it because we had the Tony moment. I think that Tony was like, he is the OG one of this. We got like the full circle wrap up with him, and I did appreciate I love that Tony and his sacrifice is kind of brought up in this. Cause he's like, I got one of those lives that Tony was talking about.
I kind of liked how it works. I think it works in a way of we've been pretty much debating since even before Infinity War. Okay, which one's gonna die, Captain America or Iron Man or both, or maybe it was Thor, but Thor was kind of a distant third as far as that conversation. I kind of like it. We kind of got them both gone, but they're both not. Oh, they didn't both nobly sacrifice themselves, but they both got their happy endings.
Yeah, it's like what they. Like if they had both gotten happy endings, it would have felt like, okay, this was kind of cheap. But like I feel like they leaned into Tony enough to where this felt right to me. What about you, Will?
No, I mean I think it's for how Iron Man really created the whole MCU. It makes sense that he would be the one to bring it full circle like that. But I don't know. I have always appreciated the idea of Cap sacrificing himself as his like final act. I feel like that's a little more of his character. I mean, we saw that in the 40s with the first Avenger, but I think I totally like the whole going back and having a first dance type of deal. I mean, that was a perfect way of ending.
Oh yeah.
But him like living out his life with her, I don't know. It was okay.
I kind of like it from the stance of, like you said, it makes sense for Cap to be sacrificing himself all the time. But I like it how for this he was like, I'm gonna do this last thing and then I'm gonna be selfish. I'm going to live my life
for once in my life.
I mean, like he's been through a lot, so he just learned that time travel and going into space were possible. So
and even as like, you're gonna tell me about the wedding ring? He's like, no, that's for me. That's for me.
Yeah. By the way, I mean we talked about that when we even talked about him passing the shield to Falcon.
Yeah.
Also, one of my other major gripes with the movie.
Yeah, I don't read comics and stuff, so I really don't know anything about Falcon. Like, I think the moment was cool, but then I like stop and think about it. I was like, Darby, would you be interested in a future Captain America movie starring Sam Fisher? And I'm like,
Sam Fisher.
Or what's
Splinter Cell?
He's
coming.
Or whatever.
Sam
what is it? Wilson. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. This is case in point. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sure they can make me care, but just on the surface, I wouldn't.
I mean, I just felt like it was not earned. Personally, I just thought, like, I understand they have a friendship, but like, if you're talking about who Cap's best friend is, there's no doubt in my mind that it's Bucky.
Yeah.
So it was just weird to me, and I've always been super pumped about Bucky carrying the mantle. Like, Sebastian has that huge contract still, where he's supposed to be in, like, I don't know, 4 other movies or something. So I always kind of assumed. It just felt weird. I don't know. I think this PC move felt a little weirder to me than like the all female thing. I didn't care about that. That was cool. This one was like, I don't know.
I mean, I think at least it definitely seems like Bucky is still going to be a very big piece in all of this, even if he's not Captain America. I mean, they're going to have the show with him, and like they're obviously setting up a lot of stuff with him in like Wakanda. I mean, I think he might be involved in future Black Panther stuff.
Well, you're saying like it being a PC move. I think it could be more of a budget move because we're getting the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. Yeah. What if they didn't announce this at the time? that it's actually going to be a Captain America and Winter Soldier show.
I mean,
and they do that so they don't have to do his all flying crap on the show.
Honestly.
And, lower the budget.
I think
What if that was part of the decision making?
I was kind of wondering if it's possible that they have like sort of not like a battle or anything, but they just like are both kind of I don't know, Captain America's in their own right. They kind of like share the shield type of thing.
I mean, the thing that they both been Captain America, so they could have gone it. They could have gone it either way, but it'd be funny if it was potentially a budget move for the show. Because honestly, kind of think about it, there's not much other time that they can set the show.
Yeah, it's weird that they called it Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I think they kind of just did that because we'll have to wait to see what it is.
So
they can't do it because of spoilers.
Like, do you actually think it's never going to be called Falcon and Winter Soldier? It's just going to the name is going to change to that was just a fake out, and it's gonna change
potentially
to Captain
because they put the Captain America thing in there, that'd be a spoiler. And
Totally.
I think they might change the title or something else.
that would be cool.
Because thinking about MCU timeline, there's not, unless it's a very very small window where they could have done it. I guess in between Winter Soldier and Civil War. Maybe. I'm trying to remember. There's no other time that these two could have gone off and done missions until this point in time.
Yeah, not that I can think of. I just love the idea of like fake names and stuff like freaking Kojima like making a fake studio to reveal Phantom Pain. I just love that stuff. Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking might happen.
The only thing I'm thinking about is he's just a normal dude, right? Like Bucky's a super soldier. It's like not much of a Captain America if you're just normal.
In the comics, as far as I know, at least in some things, when Sam Wilson's Captain America, he's still just kind of a normal dude.
Yeah.
You're just a weak Captain America. You're just a dude with a shield.
Yeah, I think that's what I can't remember. Another one of my friends was bringing that up though. Like, obviously, Cap is able to do a lot of what he's able to do because he's a super soldier. Because
he can take a punch and get launched across a room.
Yeah, are we supposed to believe that like Falcon can throw the shield? Like, are other normal people able to do that? I don't know.
Guess we'll find out.
We will find out.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. And then we have Peggy, him and Peggy dancing. Yeah. That's how it ends.
Good closing scene.
And then the awesome ending credits were like the original, however many of the six or seven, yeah, got like the signature. Like,
that was cool.
Yeah, they're going for the crowd. It's like, I noticed at some points, they're not doing the original ones. They're saving that for the end.
Yeah, and it ends with Tony, and it's like, so good. Well, we did 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Some people did send me questions. If you want to field them,
I think we answered Olivia's.
Probably, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Do you think who is the unsung hero of Endgame, if there is one?
I mean, the rat.
Yeah,
the rat. After the rat,
Howard the Duck. If he wasn't there, do you really think they would have won?
Absolutely not, Jeff.
I guess what's a serious answer?
Unsung hero. I mean,
it's because of Ant-Man they're able to do any of this.
It probably is Ant-Man.
I think Ant-Man, yeah, because whenever people talk about like the moments of winning Endgame, they're going to talk about like Cap and Iron Man and all these other stuff. But yeah, we need to remember they would have just been sad and depressed 5 years later with half the people gone if Ant-Man was still in the quantum realm.
Plus, Ant-Man
never would have happened.
Ant-Man was connected to a lot of hilarious moments.
Paul Rudd was definitively like one of the best parts of this movie. Yeah, I would say Ant-Man.
Okay, Ant-Man and the Rat.
I
mean, we've answered this, I guess, but did you expect Thanos to die so quickly?
Hell no.
Hell no. I was floored when that happened. It was so cool. So freaking cool.
In your opinion, was the time travel aspect handled correctly in the movie? Correctly is a strong word, but for what the rules that they set forth, I think, besides that ending scene, it works.
Yeah, I think time travel is very hard to do, and I think they handled it as well as they could have handled it. You know? I think there is definitely still an element you kind of have to not think about it too hard. I think this happens
it's
with
all
time travel stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of time travels in a way. You can kind of do whatever you want because we can't prove you wrong. No one truly really knows how this shit works.
Generally the way I look at time travel in shows and movies and stuff, as long as you you set your rules and you follow them. I'm just okay with whatever. But then, there's the whole thing with the ending scene where it's like, you didn't really follow your own rules here. It's a cool scene, and I guess it doesn't really matter too much, but yeah.
Yeah. Aside from that, at least there's a lot of time travel stuff that don't even try to explain it. They're just like some BS. But I like that they knew that there was going to be some controversy about the time travel, so they're like, hey, we're going to try to explain it.
Yeah, clearly tried to explain it in there. Talked about this a little bit as well, but would it have been better from a storytelling standpoint for Hawkeye to die rather than Black Widow, seeing that it would have been a redemption moment for him? Because he does say that he's done some horrible things.
I think Black Widow makes the most sense because Hawkeye, even though like he loves her and he wanted to do this for her, I think it would have been terrible for his family, and I think it made the most. I think even Hawkeye knew that he needed to live, but he couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, especially when you think of that for us, like Hawkeye's kind of redemption for what he's done in the last 5 years, kind of being a ruthless killer. You can make arguments why both made sense, but yeah, I end up Black Widow kind of making the most sense, especially since this is kind of like she's doing it for the one family she's ever had.
And
yeah.
I think Hawkeye will, like, this is going to wreck him, but he's going to have a family to go back to, and he has people that relies on him. I think if Black Widow had survived, she never would have recovered.
Yeah.
Like, she would have felt like she took their father from them.
Yeah.
And she would have, I think his life is ultimately going to be happier in the long run than hers ever would have been.
I agree. I think it's one of those things where he'll appreciate it in the long run because he has, like, a family back,
He'll name if he has another daughter, he'll name her Natasha.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Thank you, Ben Brown, for those questions. One from Justin on Twitter. We talked about this as well, but he just says the process of Cap returning the stones wasn't talked about at all, I believe. How do you think it was when he reached Vormir and was met by a banished Red Skull? #awkward.
Yeah.
I think it is like, I understand that we had to kind of just like go through this and it was already a 3-hour movie, but that is probably one of the biggest like kind of what the hell thing is that reunion is a thing that happened.
Yeah, that we'll probably never see.
We will never see it.
That is sad. And he says, how did Cap return the Soul Stone? Does that not require sacrifice?
Yeah, that's hard to explain to me too. Do you just go hand it back to?
Yeah, here you go, Red Skull.
Red Skull.
Sorry.
Also, in that timeline, what is Red Skull defending if the stone is not there?
Yeah.
Does he stay around?
That's what I was wondering. It's like, yeah. That one might be more of a question mark for this. He might just like, he just threw it down where Black Widow's body was.
I can see Captain walks up with the stone. Red Skull's like, wait, what the hell? Like, if you have that, what am I standing here for?
What's the worst job ever?
What have I been here for? Or I like to think that someone came up to do that, and he's like, oh, you have to sacrifice someone to get the stone, so they push someone off. And he's like, okay, here's the stone.
No. Also, if he goes back in time, does he see Black Widow's body? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, that's it. Thanks, Justin Myhill, for those
Also,
questions.
could he just like go back to before Black Widow sacrificed herself?
And stop her?
Like, give the stone, say, hey, you stop,
Yeah.
come back with me. I'm going to bring you back with me.
Yeah, because, I mean, technically he has to bring it back. Well, I don't know.
I mean, we've already shown, like, people can, like, jump through timelines. Like, Gamora is now living in our timeline, even though she's from another one. So you could have just gone back and taken that Black Widow and be like, hey, this is how things are going to go down. Come with me.
Yeah.
We won. We're good. I see no way that wouldn't work. How would that not work?
I don't know, man.
We have to stop doing time travel.
I know.
Logic.
We will. This whole movie will fall apart if you.
Then they
think
could
about
just go back in time and get Quicksilver and bring him back.
Anyone you've ever lost, just bring them back. Maybe Thanos was right because we're gonna overpopulate the world, just bringing back people,
Literally.
and then the world's gonna be uninhabitable. Thanos was right.
We should say that Pym particles became a little bit of a storytelling device that might be problematic in the future.
There needs to be some plot point where they're all gone.
Yeah, Pym
All
particles are
throughout
gone.
history, they're just gone.
All right, that was it.
All right,
Good talk.
man. I love this movie.
We almost talked about this movie as long as the movie. Which tells you
Almost. We
something.
would have to go over another like 40 minutes. Let's do it. Let's go.
We could.
I already love this movie coming in, and then talking about it, I love it even more. The sheer amount of times, even throughout talking about this, I got so pumped. I was like,
Yeah.
goosebumps. It's just, I need to see it again very soon.
Yeah, me too.
I can't wait for it. Like, whenever they do the box set of this, it's going to be like this big.
It'll be massive.
Yeah.
Let's get Disney Plus and then you have it all.
Now is the time for Square Enix to announce their freaking Avengers game at E3. Capitalize.
Seriously. They're having a conference.
Capitalize, Square.
They took Sony's spot, time-wise.
You going to try to be here with us for that?
I would like to be.
Okay.
I think I could.
Let's try it.
Yeah, I think that's like based on my work schedule. That and Bethesda are the only two. I'm like, I can definitely be at these two. The other ones are question marks. Like, of course it's those two.
But if there's Final Fantasy VII and Avengers, it could
Yeah,
be dope
yeah.
as hell. So we'll see. Well, Will, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. It was fun.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. I'm glad you were up for 2 hours plus. I figured that was
could
good.
do-
We
I could
almost
do
got.
this, yeah.
I
We're
probably
close
should have
to the record for the longest, Darby.
Yeah, let's just keep going. 2 hours,
Break the
25
record.
minutes was the Persona. Well, let's just go.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. I probably should have warned you that it would probably be over 2 hours.
No, I don't.
but-
I could talk about this movie for a while.
Oh, I could keep going. I could. absolutely.
The moment we stop recording, we'll probably each remember a scene. Be like,
Yeah.
Damn it. Oh,
Put it back on.
one moment.
Okay, well, on the same podcast feed, Nerds at Large Spoilercast, look forward to the final 3 episodes of our Game of Thrones Spoilercast, and then the whole thing's done, Jeff.
Hopefully, I can join
The
you
whole
guys
thing.
for the last one. That would be sick.
Hurry, speed up. We have us two. We have 2 people to call in, but we have a free mic.
I need to speed
Hey,
up.
so you have May 16th or something. I think it's
May
the
19th.
finale.
May 19th.
May 19th.
I
okay.
honestly will. As soon as you catch up, let us know, and you can try to get on.
16 days.
We
to
do
get
record
through
them Sunday
3.5
nights pretty
seasons.
late, but
Yeah.
Well, I don't have school anymore. It's okay, or work. So.
all right, no, for real. Catch up and let us
Yeah.
know.
My goal is to catch up for at least the finale. Like, I want to watch the last one with everyone.
That's
So,
very doable.
Yeah.
If you're starting season 5 around now,
Yeah.
that's doable. That's so totally doable. All right, yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Detective Pikachu,
Detective
maybe.
Pikachu.
That comes
And
out
then
next week.
Freaking Spider-Man. There's a Spider-Man movie coming out in 2 months. Ah, too much. Too much. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.